KMOX AM St. Louis, KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Eggland's Best.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. The pressure is rising.
We've just seized a tanker on the coast of Venezuela.
President Trump announcing the latest U.S. move to try to convince dictator Nicolas Maduro to give up power. CBS's Linda Kenyon from Washington.
Attorney General Pam Bondi stated the FBI, Homeland Security Investigations, the U.S. Coast Guard, and the Pentagon executed a warrant for the tanker that she said was transporting sanctioned oil from Venezuela and Iran.
Venezuela calls it a blatant theft and an act of international piracy. The Senate takes up an issue at the heart of the government shutdown, health care. Republicans, like Louisiana's Bill Cassidy, are poised to reject legislation extending the Affordable Care Act.
We want money in your pocket for your out of pocket, and they want you to front the whole thing.
Minority Leader Chuck Schumer.
Are they going to bring health care costs down, or will they sit by and let premiums explode for millions of Americans?
Lawmakers are expected to reject two bills guaranteeing many covered by Obamacare will see a steep rise in prices come January 1st. The House has okayed a $900 billion defense bill.
It was a bipartisan effort, passing by a vote of 312 to 112. The bill codifies much of President Trump's national security agenda, but also demands the Pentagon work more closely with Congress and tries to block Trump's plan to withdraw troops from Europe. Washington State Democrat Adam Smith.
Does it stop all those bad things that President Trump and Pete Hegseth are doing right now? No, but it really couldn't. It's a step in the right direction towards reasserting the authority of Congress.
It's expected the Senate will also pass the bill. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
There's a state of emergency in effect in Washington state where an atmospheric river has dumped record rainfall that's triggered massive flash flooding. Tens of thousands of people are facing evacuation orders. Governor Bob Ferguson.
Look, the impact on Washingtonians is significant now, and it's going to be significant in the coming days, and that is an understatement.
Up to 15 inches of rain has covered cars and homes. First responders used boats to rescue dozens of people trapped in an RV park in Pierce County. Rock royalty says, yes, you can sample one of their most famous riffs.
I'm Vicky Barker in London. This is said to be the world's most bootlegged single. Fatboy Slim's year 2000 version of his 1998 platinum-selling dance track, The Rockefeller Skank, mixing in the riff from the Rolling Stones' 1965 hit, Satisfaction. Well, 25 years on, the Stones have finally said yes to allowing this version's commercial release.
Dow futures are down 41. This is CBS News.
Eggland's Best, the only eggs with more fresh and delicious taste, plus superior nutrition. Eggland's Best, better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
It is 6:03 right now in downtown St. Louis. We have mostly cloudy skies, 30 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. Certain junk foods may be off the list for Missourians with SNAP benefits.
Missouri is one of several states wanting to ban the use of SNAP funds for candy, certain desserts, soda, and other sweet beverages. Wednesday, the U.S. Department of Agriculture formally approved Missouri's request, along with those from Hawaii, North Dakota, South Carolina, Tennessee, and Virginia. So far, 18 states have sought SNAP food choice waivers. They're collaborating with the federal government's Make America Healthy Again initiative. Missouri was also approved for allowing hot, ready-to-eat rotisserie chicken through SNAP. The changes take effect next October. Scott Jagal, KMOX News.
This just into the newsroom. Police gathering evidence at a shooting scene in South St. Louis. The gunfire occurring around 4:30 this morning in the 2600 block of Rutger, west of Jefferson. Police say the victim, identified only as a woman, was critically injured. No word yet on any suspects.
The city is working on a bill to ask voters once again to reallocate tax dollars originally meant for the Green Line Metrolink expansion in St. Louis. Aldermanic President Megan Green says while there is a possibility they don't need to go back to the voters, she believes conscience.
Just because there is perhaps a legal case that could be made that we don't need to go back to voters, I don't think that means that we should.
The new bill is also more flexible than the original bill, allowing the city to revert back to constructing a train line instead of a bus line if the changing political landscape makes it feasible. No vote was taken in committee.
St. Louis City Police facing a new lawsuit over those police officers who crashed into a gay bar and then arrested the bar's owner.
This is the second lawsuit filed against the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department by the owners of Bar PM, with the first lawsuit focusing on James Pence, the owner who was detained but not criminally charged. This one is on behalf of Chad Morris, the one who was charged. Here's their attorney, Javad Kazali.
Now we are prepared to file his civil lawsuit, which is essentially the same as James's, except for it involves his full beating and his wrongful, bogus criminal charges.
Now, although there is a lot of crossover with these two civil cases, Kazali tells me he doesn't anticipate them happening simultaneously because Pence's is already set to go to trial in February. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
So far, the police department has declined to comment.
A Southern Illinois sheriff is asking for Governor Pritzker to meet with law enforcement to discuss making changes to the state's no cash bail system created by the Safety Act. Randolph County Sheriff Jared Peters posted a letter on social media with 4 key points. He wants to expand judicial discretion in pretrial detention. Peters also seeks to expand the list of detainable offenses in Illinois. He wants to improve transparency in sentencing, and he's hoping to address funding challenges Illinois counties now face due to the lack of bail revenue.
The next legal battle over Missouri's new congressional voting districts could be whether or not the new map is paused until Missourians vote on it. The group that gathered the signatures, the group People Not Politicians, says once signatures are submitted to the Secretary of State, the redistricting bill must be paused until Missourians vote on it. A federal court ruled this week that the bill will go into effect on December 11th and not be frozen unless and until Missouri Secretary of State Denny Hoskins certifies the referendum.
Missouri state law does not say the timeline on when the Secretary of State must certify those signatures. However, I would say that we will certify any signatures that we receive within a reasonable amount of time.
Local election offices have until July 28th to validate signatures, and then he decides whether to certify them. Hoskins' office says the deadline to finalize ballot wording for the November 2026 election is September 8th.
He was hesitant to sign up for the Fathers and Family Support Center's family formation program, but Sean Hall Bay is glad he did.
I got custody of my daughter now, and everything is basically turning out really fine for me through this program. This program has set that foundation for me.
Sean was just named Second Chance Father of the Year. The 6-week course teaches effective parenting skills. Fathers and Family Support Center is now enrolling for their next classes that begin in January.
The Business Desk, sponsored by Krenz Financial Group, KFGadvisors.com. When the Missouri Athletic Club opens its new Clayton location, they'll have a Michelin-starred chef overseeing the culinary program. Chef Bogdan Dania is the first Romanian chef to receive the honor from Michelin. He got his start at a 2 Michelin-star restaurant in Ireland, then 6 years with Gordon Ramsay's team in London. The MAC Clayton will open in the Pierre Laclede Center on Forsyth and is the organization's 3rd location.
It's 6:08, traffic and weather next.
There's an old joke about Uncle Sam's new tax short form. The first line says, "How much did you make?" The next line says, "Send it in." Really, not that funny, but that's what a lot of people do in retirement. They take money out of their 401k or IRA and end up sending it in when they pay taxes. Steve All of the All Financial Group invites you to take their tax challenge. What if your current plan included thousands of dollars in unnecessary taxes and fees, or maybe higher Medicare premiums or a lower Social Security check? What if the savings you realized could allow you to retire early? Wouldn't you want to know about that right now? Take the All Financial Group Tax Challenge and find out. There's no charge. Call Steve today at 636-230-8824. That's 636-230-8824 or online at yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Steve All, NPN number 153-07419.
My name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment? That's a lie. Most timeshares can be bought online for what your timeshare is worth, and to cancel it, call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit kit free with all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley for your free exit info guide. 800-941-2255. That's 800-941-2255.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
It's 6:10. Let's check in with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Debbie, we still have our problem coming out of Madison County on westbound 270. That stall or crash, whatever it was there, that's at the Illinois end of the Chain Rocks Bridge. Traffic's jammed back to the Canal Bridge now, so slowly building a backup westbound 270. Obviously, it's a lane restricted there. There's only 2 lanes coming into the bridge, and that's the case, but they have yet to take care of that situation. Other than that, in the work zones, we look okay. Just a little busy eastbound 64 through Greenmount. I did get the official word from IDOT. They're out there working, so no surprise. In the mornings, we see the delays eastbound. In the afternoon, it's westbound, and that's the case right now. Just a little slow in that construction area, but not bad on the Missouri side. In the construction areas, we're talking 55 into Festus and at Bayless, 270 around Ladue, and 70 between Warrenton and Wentzville. There are no issues or delays out there so far yet this morning. Next update at 6:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. What's the latest in our forecast? A little chilly out there.
Cloudy and cold today, high 38. Look for some snow to pass north and east of the city during the late afternoon hours into tonight. Otherwise, cloudy overnight to 30. Mostly cloudy tomorrow, high 38. Cloudy and colder Saturday. Another round of snow will pass mainly north of the city during the late morning and afternoon hours, the high 24 to 28, but temperature will start to fall in the afternoon. Sunday will be bright and sunny, but brisk and bitterly cold. The coldest day so far this winter, high 16. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Cloudy and 30 downtown at the Arch right now. Weather sponsored by Allstate. Wish you could save on home insurance. With Allstate, you could easily save and get quality protection. Yep, it's a win-win. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
It is 6:12, and the Salvation Army hopes to start renovations on its fire damage treatment center in Midtown in February. The St. Louis Development Corporation is accepting bids for a variety of work on the project through January 15th. The treatment center on Washington Avenue opened in 2016 and offers treatment services to those struggling with addiction, but a fire in March shut the facility down.
An employee at the Illinois State Police Communications Center in Collinsville wins a statewide award. Melissa Deanworth was chosen ISP Telecommunicator of the Year. Deanworth's peers at Troop 8 headquarters say she displays dedication, hard work, and outstanding service to law enforcement and the public.
Former Illinois House Speaker Michael Madigan asking President Trump for a pardon. Nancy Hardy has the details.
Madigan is 2 months into his 7.5-year sentence for his role in the ComEd bribery scheme. The Tribune was first to report the Office of the Pardon Attorney shows he's asking for a pardon after completion of his sentence. It's not clear when the 83-year-old made the request. Madigan is appealing his conviction and, due to his age, could be released on home confinement, like ex-Alderman Ed Burke was earlier this year. He had also asked President Trump for help, but the pardon attorney says his case was administratively closed this month. Trump commuted the prison sentence of Rod Blagojevich and eventually gave the ex-governor a full pardon.
The House has approved a $900 billion defense bill.
It was a bipartisan effort, passing by a vote of 312 to 112. The bill codifies much of President Trump's national security agenda, but also demands the Pentagon work more closely with Congress and tries to block Trump's plan to withdraw troops from Europe. Washington State Democrat Adam Smith.
Does it stop all those bad things that President Trump and Pete Hegseth are doing right now? No, but it really couldn't. It's a step in the right direction towards reasserting the authority of Congress.
It's expected the Senate will also pass the bill. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
Wednesday's House passage of the 2026 National Defense Authorization Act praise from Missouri and Illinois members of Congress. Missouri Republican Ann Wagner says the package includes $4 billion worth of investments to St. Louis area programs, including $2.6 fighter jet. Illinois Republican Mike Bost says there's $6 million in the bill for hangar improvements at Scott Air Force Base. The NDAA now goes to the Senate for consideration.
And Joe Buck, KMOX alum, the winner of baseball's top broadcasting honor, winning the Ford C. Frick Award. Joe joins his father, Jack, as the only father-son honorees. Joe says he was humbled to receive the award given by the National Baseball Hall of Fame.
It's hard for me. It's why I have a therapist to accept this kind of stuff, because I tend to downplay awards and what have you because of always feeling like, I had a leg up at the start of my career, and I did. I'm the first to admit it.
Tom's going to have extended comments from Joe Buck about this coming up at 6:22.
That I will. We are thrilled for Joe Buck. Congratulations, Joe, and we will see you in Cooperstown. You can bet KMOX will have plenty of coverage of Joe Buck going into the Baseball Hall of Fame July 24th through the 27th. That is the weekend of note. Now, let's turn our attention to Matt.
The winter meetings are over, and the Cardinals do not make a trade. While Cardinals president of baseball operations Chaim Bloom continues conversations with other teams, the entire industry seems to be stuck with only free agent signings occurring and the trade market not yet opening up. Bloom's comments make it feel like they did not get any closer to a trade during the final day of the meetings on Wednesday.
Pretty similar vibe to the last couple of days, just ongoing conversations. All the planes are still in the air right now.
Brendan Donovan, Jojo Romero, and Wilson Contreras appear to be the Cardinals who are most likely to be traded, but for now, they and all of their teammates remain Cardinals as fans wait for the trade market to start to pick up. In Orlando at baseball's winter meetings, Matt Pauley, KMOX Sports.
The big deal yesterday, the Baltimore Orioles agreeing to a $155 million 5-year contract with slugger Pete Alonso. Alonso getting a Baltimore team that is making a major move. They vowed to be aggressive following a last-place finish in the AL East, and Alonso would be quite a pickup. 272 was his batting average, much improved there last year. 38 home runs, 126 RBIs. That's what he does, posting an 871 OPS, his highest since he hit a record 53 home runs as a rookie in 2019. Alonso turned 31 on Sunday. Former Michigan football coach Sharon Moore has been jailed, according to court records. He was detained yesterday just hours after he was fired for what the university said was an inappropriate relationship with a staff member. According to the Washtenaw County Jail, the 39-year-old Moore had been booked into the facility as of last night. The jail's records did not provide any information about why Moore was detained or whether any court appearances were scheduled. In response to media inquiries about Moore, Pittsfield Township Police Department said officers took a person into custody after investigating an alleged assault. The police statement did not mention Moore by name. As for the Blues, they have to pick themselves up here. They lost 5-2 to the Bruins. That happened just a couple of days ago, and tonight they are in Nashville. They take on the Predators, who actually have a worse record than they do. The Blues are 11-13-7. The Predators are 11-14-4. It's a 7 o'clock face-off tonight. Those two teams bringing up the rear in the Central Division. Winnipeg has 29 points, tied with the Blues for second to last place. But when you take a look at the wild card, is it still attainable? Sure. The Blues are 3 points out of a playoff spot in the West. Chicago and Edmonton, both with 32, and the Blues have 29. I'm Tom Ackerman on the voice of the Cardinals and the Billikens, 104.1 FM KMOX.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
This is the story of the one. As the purchasing manager at a manufacturing plant, she knows the only thing more important than having the right safety gear is having it there when you need it. That's why she partners with Grainger for auto reordering, so her team members can count on her to have cut-resistant gloves on hand, and each shift can run safely and efficiently. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hi, Margaret with Eamon, Gantner, and Capriano. Our St. Louis Baseball Cardinals reset last season. Now they're planning for the long term. Have you thought about a long term, a will, a trust, powers of attorney? Eamon Gantner and Capriano can guide you with a personalized estate plan. Sign up for our free webinar on our website, yourestateMatters.com. Learn more about estate planning, get some answers, list your questions, then schedule a consultation. You can plan for your family, your favorite charities, taxes, your long-term care, and even your pets now, before the courts do it for you later. Eamon Gantner and Capriano, yourestateMatters.com.
The choice of an attorney is an important decision and shouldn't be based solely on advertising.
Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It is 6:20. This is Total Information AM. I'm Debbie Monterrey, along with Tom Ackerman and Roger Brand, who is in the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center, keeping an eye on your ride in.
Well, it's getting a little busier out there, Debbie, but there's only one trouble point right now. This traffic reports the service of S&L Coins, and that's the stall or crash that's westbound 270 just before the Chain of Rocks Bridge. They may have it moved over to the shoulder. Hard for me to tell. I can tell you the jam's a little longer, though. It jams now at Route 3 over most of the way to the Chain of Rocks Bridge, opened up just a little bit before the bridge, so there might be some relief on the front end. We'll keep watching it, see if it gets any better and or worse. On the Missouri side, northbound 55, the right lane's a little busy at Butler Hill. Bayless up to River to Pears, a little slow. 270 northbound from 55 all the way up through the work zone at Ladue looks good. Starting to see some volume out west. Southbound 61, Wentzville Parkway to 64 and 64 itself. East of 364 past Winghaven is a little busy. And there's also just that hint of a slowdown eastbound 64 in the work zone at Greenmount. Next update at 6:30 from your overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
S&L Coin. We buy gold and silver coins, silver and gold jewelry. Also buying gold-filled and silver plates. Before you sell, call S&L. 314-544-3600. 314-544-3600. S&L Coin.
An area of snow will pass north and east of the city late this afternoon into tonight, says Joe Lundberg. Cloudy and cold today, a high of 38, low near 30 tonight, high of 38 again tomorrow. And then Saturday, another round of snow will pass mainly north of the city into the late morning and afternoon hours, highs in the 20s. Currently, it's 30 downtown. Joe Buck is going into the broadcaster's wing of the Baseball Hall of Fame. Announced yesterday, he got the call yesterday. It's the first father-son combo to win the Ford Frick Award. Jack Buck was inducted in 1987, and Joe will make his speech the final weekend of July in Cooperstown.
I'm the luckiest guy in the world. I was lucky to call Jack Buck my dad and my best friend. I'm lucky that I'm Carol Buck's son, and it's hard for me. It's why I have a therapist to accept this kind of stuff, because I tend to downplay awards and what have you, because of always feeling like, I had a leg up at the start of my career, and I did. I'm the first to admit it. But I am happy that when I was a kid, I paid attention, and I wanted to be with him. He and I were best friends, and I think the greatest gift my dad gave me was allowing me to be in the room with him. And that room was different from time to time. It might have been in his office when his voice got real deep, and I knew he was talking on the phone, that he was doing a radio interview, most likely with KMOX in St. Louis. But it could have been with anybody. Or that room was in the booth with the Cardinals, or that room was in the booth with Hank Stram on Monday Night Football, or whatever it was. I was around it, and he wanted me there. And I think that, more than anything, started me on this journey that I don't want to say ends for me in Cooperstown. I'd like to think there's still some stuff out in front of me, but this is the greatest honor I could receive. And to know what he would be thinking and feeling on this day, that's the part that makes it special. And to have my mom here, who I was seated next to when my dad went in 1987, and I was a senior in high school, and I had a blue and white seersucker sport coat on, baking in the Cooperstown sun. Never more proud of my father, and listening to his speech, which the main piece of it, I recall him saying that He was honored to be the eyes and the ears for Cardinal fans wherever the Cardinals went. And he was very proud of being the conduit between wherever the Cardinals were playing and those fans that were listening. That always resonated with me. And then to see him have a couple years with Tim McCarver at CBS doing the World Series in 90 and 91. And then not long after that, there I was sitting with Tim McCarver. I owe so much of this to my dad. I owe as much to Tim. And that's the last time I was there, is when Tim McCarver got into the Hall of Fame. I was as proud of him as I was of my dad, because I knew what it meant to Tim, who had spent his entire life thinking, breathing, living baseball and teaching it as much as playing it and announcing it. So I have a long list of people to thank. And then we'll take questions if there are any. If anybody's still awake, I will take questions. But I mean, to thank David Hill, who took a chance on a 27-year-old and paired me with Tim. My dad knew I was in great hands with Tim as my partner. We were of a different generation, he and I, but he knew that whatever was going to happen on the field in a World Series or a big game, Tim had either been a part of as a player or had seen it as a broadcaster. And it was a great security blanket for me. And then Tim giving me, I think, kind of the sign off as somebody who was worthy of an opinion on a stage like that, gave me credibility instantly. And so, I was a young guy, 27, trying to act older than I was, sitting in the Bronx, getting ready for World Series Game 1, and the rain's pouring down, and I'm scrambling before my first World Series game, scared out of my mind. And then it gets rained out, and I had all my work done, and I was able to go back to the ballpark, back to the great Yankee Stadium, my favorite place to call games. And I was ready already, and I could just kind of relax and get set for my first game. And I'm proud that I did all that at that age. And I'm proud that the stage wasn't too big. And I'm proud that I got through all that. I look back, and I've got a 29 and 26-year-old in the family, 2 daughters, and I've got 7-year-old twin boys. And I think being able to share this with them is the most meaningful part of it for me, because I spent a lot of time away and a lot of time with them, with mom, while I was doing an All-Star game or a World Series or whatever it was. I missed a lot of stuff, as we all do in this business. And I'm glad that we get this great, joyous time coming at the end of July. So I'll answer specific questions. I'm blown away. I did not expect this at all. It does feel like it dropped out of the sky. I kind of resigned myself to the fact that it was going to be years if it ever did come to pass. And to get it here in 2025 for 2026 is just stunning, shocking, and wonderful all at the same time. So
that is Joe Buck, who had made those comments, his first reaction to receiving the call from the Baseball Hall of Fame. It's 6:28. Time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
McKelvey Homes excited to introduce their newest community, the Reserve at Wildwood. Tom Ackerman for McKelvey Homes, and for McKelvey Homes president Jim Brennan, always finding the best places in the St. Louis area. The Reserve at Wildwood is a premier development located on 50 acres at the southwest corner of Route 109 and 100 in the heart of Wildwood. Let's tell you a little bit about it. It's more than just a place to live. It's a place to thrive. The stunning collection of homes, thoughtfully planned with families and outdoor lovers in mind. The community features a private playground, picturesque rain gardens, miles of walking trails that wind through scenic green spaces, encouraging an active and connected lifestyle. And because of its location, easy access to nature recreation, it's also next to the Wildwood Town Center. It's next to dining and shopping and entertainment options. It's the Reserve at Wildwood, McKelvey Homes. McKelveyHomes.com.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime.
Our entry-level data plans start at just $20 a month. And for a limited time, switch and get your second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you and get your second month free today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional details.
At Audion Hearing, our mission is simple: to make better hearing affordable for everyone. This Christmas holiday, enjoy exclusive savings on our high-quality rechargeable hearing aids. Clear, comfortable, and ready to use right out of the box. And here's a study worth hearing. Research shows that wearing hearing aids can reduce your risk of dementia by up to 61%. Join over 1 million happy customers and shop Christmas holiday deals before they're gone at audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
This is Amy Mark Scores, chair of this year's Red Kettle campaign. Christmas reminds us of the challenges faced by our neighbors in need, basic needs we sometimes take for granted. When you give with joy to the Salvation Army, you transform lives. You put food on the table and provide warm beds. You give veterans and seniors purpose. You help a child experience the joy of Christmas. And 90 cents of every dollar donated goes directly to critical social services. Bring joy to the world today. Visit salarmy.us/Amy Mark Scores.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com.
It is 6:31, and right now in downtown St. Louis, we have mostly cloudy skies. It is 30 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. Roger Brands of the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, if you're traveling on westbound Highway 270 coming out of Madison County, good news for you. They cleared that stall or crash. Well, I guess it was a stall since it got cleared a little more quickly. There are no longer any delays running through there. On the Illinois side, you do have just a hint of a slowdown. Let's call it east of 50 through Greenmount. Just slow right now on eastbound 64 in the work zone. On the Missouri side, more volume southbound 61, Highway P down onto 64 at the Boulevard, and then through Wing Haven, there's a little bit of a slowdown. There's some volume on northbound 55 through Butler Hill, and north of the Union Road overpass up to about Loughborough, northbound 270. Slow with the merge on with the 55 traffic. It's slow both sides of Gravois, and then Manchester up to Ladue, south 270, south of Olive, getting a little busy, but it doesn't look all that bad on that run for you right now. The rest of the highways, though, you're good to go. Next update at 6:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
The weather is not going to be as bad as it was yesterday because we don't have the wind that we had yesterday. It's just going to be cloudy and cold today and tomorrow with highs both days of 38. When we're looking at tonight, though, we could see an area of snow passing north and east of the city late this afternoon into tonight. Otherwise, just cloudy skies. It's cloudy and 30 right now.
A developing story in South St. Louis this morning. City police say a woman was critically injured in a shootout at about 4:30. They have not said if investigators have any leads on a potential suspect. The shooting took place in the 2600 block of Rutger.
A new bill to re-ask voters how the city should spend the tax dollars raised to construct the Green Line is more open-ended than the original.
Aldermanic President Megan Green is sponsoring the legislation, which, if passed, still allows the city to construct a train line instead of expanding its bus line if the political landscape changes. She explains the shift to a more open-ended bill.
We don't know what public transit is going to look like in the future. And so while the federal funding environment right now is not conducive to funding North-South Metrolink, that doesn't mean in 20 or 30 years that it won't be a different funding environment.
Green also says the bill being drafted this way allows the city to shift back to a train line without having to go back to the voters. No vote on the bill was taken in committee. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
A new Pew Research Center analysis takes a look at religion and young people in the United States.
Pew senior researcher Greg Smith says one of the key issues they looked at was the belief that many young people are converting to traditional forms of Christianity, such as Orthodox Christianity and Catholicism. But they found
very few young people have converted to Orthodox Christianity. Orthodox Christians make up a small share of the population as a whole, and there are few people in percentage terms who have converted to it among young people or older adults. And Catholicism loses far more people through religious switching than it gains. And that's true among younger people and older people alike. So we're not seeing much evidence, at least at the national level, of widespread conversions to Christianity among young adults.
Smith says despite suggestions of a religious revival taking place among young adults, Pew found no clear evidence that this kind of nationwide religious resurgence is underway in the United States. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
The news sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com at 6:34.
Hey guys, it's Glover. As you know, we have been raising money for Operation Food Surge over the past 7 years. Now we have a new way for you to give. Our friends over at Bissinger's Chocolates have created Dave's Faves, a collection of 7 of my favorite truffles. You can get them at Bissinger's. You can also get them online at bissingers.com. They're $20 a box. There are 7 of my favorite truffles in there, and all the money goes to Operation Food Surge, helping out.
The Dave Glover Show, weekdays at 1 on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
This holiday, give the gift that lasts all season long. Cardinals ticket packs are on sale now, starting at 5, 6, and 10 games. All packs include 2026's top games and favorite giveaways. Backed by popular demand, choose from the opening day pack or the bobblehead pack. Check out the Cubs pack, weekend pack, or apparel pack. There's a pack for everyone. Find your perfect gift right now at cardinals.com/tickets.
You can feel the Clydesdales circling the field. Hear the stands come alive. Smell the hot dogs, the popcorn, and the cold beer in the air. See the crowd rise as the first pitch hits the glove. And just like that, a new season begins. This holiday season, give the gift that lets them feel it for themselves. Opening day at Busch Stadium. It's more than baseball. It's an STL tradition. Opening day tickets are on sale now at cardinals.com/tickets.
This is Ozzie Smith. I'll see you at Busch Stadium.
It is 6:36. This is Total Information AM. Debbie Monterrey, along with Tom Ackerman, will get you updated on traffic and weather coming up in 4 minutes. But first, your money report, sponsored by Eamon Gantner and Capriano, Elder Law Attorneys.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. American Airlines is seeing demand bouncing back after the carrier took a substantial hit from the government shutdown. The airline says bookings for the first quarter look strong, and demand for flying has been resilient. Shares of American have lost about 13% so far this year. Turning to stocks, Oracle is reigniting concerns about all the spending surrounding artificial intelligence and if it will eventually pay off. The tech giant is sinking in early trading, pulling down the overall market. S&P futures are falling 37 points. Dow futures are down 85. Yesterday, big gains for stocks after the Federal Reserve delivered another interest rate cut. The Dow soared 497 points. And the number of federal employees who left their jobs in 2025 will total about 317,000 after efforts by Elon Musk and the Trump administration to reshape the workforce. The overwhelming majority were voluntary. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
CVS Health supports people in the moments that matter, from picking up a prescription to connecting care. With nearly 5 million daily interactions and serving 185 million consumers and 1.5 million healthcare professionals, CVS Health holds a trusted place in healthcare. By simplifying care and improving health, we're helping people get the care they need. Learn more at cvshealth.com/investor day.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment? That's a lie. Most timeshares can be bought online for $1. To find out what your timeshare is worth and to cancel it, call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit kit free with all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley for your free exit info guide. 800-990-1551. That's 800-990-1551.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody. Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install a Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/deal for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/deal. See representative for warranty details.
Bet the game day action right from your phone. Download the Caesars Sportsbook app now. Use code RADIOMO. Place your first bet of $5 or more and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. Open to new users in Missouri who are 21 or older. First wager after registration must qualify and win. And bonus bets expire 30 days after receipt. See Caesars.com/promotions or the promotions tab on the app for full terms. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. This holiday season, when you get them Steel, batteries are included. Buy select battery tool sets and free extra battery. Visit SteelUSA.com for gift ideas and seasonal savings. Happy holidays from Steel. Offer valid for a limited time only at participating dealers while supplies last.
Saturday night, it's men's Billikens basketball as they take on San Francisco. Pre-game 6:45. Tip at 7 on your home for Billikens basketball. 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 6:40. Time for us to check the roads and the weather. The weather is at least not as windy as yesterday, so that is the good news. We don't have a wind chill that we're dealing with. Let's see what we're dealing with on your ride in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center. It's Roger Brand.
Well, we'll see if the roads get as busy. Right now, this is typically what you would expect this time of day. Deputy southbound 61, midway down from P to Wentzville Parkway into 64 to about the boulevard. It opens up before you get there. North 270. Slow stuff north of Tesson Ferry through Gravois, north of Big Bend, all the way up to Ladou's, kind of slow. Northbound 55. The right lanes don't look that bad, Butler Hill, Mattis, but it is backed up just north of the Union Road overpass up to River to Peril. On the Illinois side, roadwork delays eastbound 64, midway in between 50 and Greenmount, slow there. And westbound 64, west of the 3rd Street to Poplar is heavy. Next update at 6:50 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Sponsored by Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty 314-325-6888.
Need to sell your home and you want the most money? The name to remember is Gloria Lou. Yes, Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty at 314-325-6888 and start packing.
It is 6:42. We're checking in with AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. And Joe, the temperature right now is actually much colder than it was at this time yesterday morning, but it feels better because we don't have the wind.
Yeah, yesterday we had ferocious winds out of the west and northwest at 15 to 25, gusts to 35 miles an hour or higher. And temperatures quickly fell from the 40s into the 30s. Right now we're in the 20s, but you're right. There's absolutely no wind right now. It's still cold, and it's going to be a cloudy day today with a high of 38. It's like a weak area of low pressure will pass through the area late this afternoon or early tonight. As it does, we're probably on the southwest edge of the precipitation. It might be a sprinkle or flurry in the city. I don't think there's anything to the south and west. Well to the north and east, though, there'll be a period with accumulating snow. So if you're traveling, say in the direction of Chicago or over toward Indianapolis, you're going to run into some of that snow. Just no way around it. Then that goes away late tonight. It stays mostly cloudy tomorrow with a high of 38. Round number 2 gets perilously close to the area on Saturday during the late morning and afternoon hours. May even snow a little bit in the city. The southwest suburbs stay dry. Temperature, though, in the 20s and falling throughout the day. Behind that system, the coldest day so far this winter, easily on Sunday with sunshine, the high 16. We could start out near 0 Sunday morning and probably get close to it Sunday night. Monday, mostly sunny. We rebound to 44, and then it gets even milder later next week. Right now, 28 at St. Peter's, 29 at Florissant, partly cloudy, 31 downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist 41 FM KMOX.
It is now 6:43, and the Federal Reserve reduced its key interest rate for the third time in a row Wednesday, but may leave rates unchanged in the months ahead. Chair Jerome Powell signaled at a news conference that the Fed would likely hold off on further rate cuts in the coming months while it evaluated the health of the economy. And in a set of quarterly economic projections, Fed officials signaled they expect to lower rates just once next year. Wednesday's cut reduced the rate to about 3.6%, the lowest it's been in nearly 3 years. President Trump defending the U.S. seizure Wednesday of a sanctioned Venezuelan oil tanker, which Venezuela says is a serious international crime. We get more from CBS's Jared Hill.
The Trump administration says the tanker was part of an illicit oil shipping network supporting terrorist organizations like Hezbollah, and that for years it was used to transport sanctioned oil between Venezuela, and Trump was asked about what will happen to the oil on board.
Well, I assume we're going to keep the
The Venezuelan government called the operation a shameless robbery and an act of international piracy.
Residents have been packing up and preparing to flee as Washington state endures days of heavy rain.
Rivers are raging in western Washington from a powerful atmospheric river that's been drenching the state from way out in the Pacific.
Pulling subtropical moisture from well back towards the dateline.
Greg Galena at the Weather Service.
This is producing a lot of heavy rainfall.
KMOX welcomes Transite.
Over 10, 12 inches.
Nearly 5 trillion gallons of rain have fallen on Washington over the past week. And while Wednesday was expected to be the peak, Galena warns
all of that rainfall that's been still up in the mountains, it's going to still slowly come down into the rivers, and those rivers will remain swollen through probably most of the week. But then again, we'll probably have another event of heavy rainfall producing towards the weekends.
I'm Ben Thomas.
KMOX welcomes Trans-Siberian Orchestra and their monumental tour, The Ghosts of Christmas Eve, to Enterprise Center December 23rd at 3 p.m. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. A portion of the proceeds benefits Siteman Kids at St. Louis Children's Hospital. TSO, timeless and everlasting. Don't miss the Trans-Siberian Orchestra, The Lost Christmas Eve, produced by Live Nation. For more details, KMOX.com/events.
I'm Tom Ackerman, and Matt Pauley is in Orlando, Florida, wrapping things up at baseball's winter meetings. The final day yesterday. Let's get the latest from Matt.
The biggest news of the winter meetings for the Cardinals is their decision to make a pick in the Rule 5 draft, nabbing relief pitcher Matthew Pushard from the Marlins. The club likes his ability to induce swing and miss, but President of Baseball Operations Chaim Bloom also says his ability to pitch multiple innings out of the bullpen is key.
Can't just have one-inning guys out there, and especially when you're looking at someone in the Rule 5, if you're going to put them on your team, you need to feel committed to at least trying to keep them. And it's easier to do that if you have someone who can go multiple ups and just gives the staff more options to be able to use a player.
The Cardinals also lose a player as pitcher Cade Winquist is selected by the Yankees. Any Rule 5 player who does not stay on the Major League roster of the team who selected them has to be offered back to their original club. In Orlando at baseball's winter meetings, Matt Pauley, KMOX Sports.
Pete Alonso gets a 5-year, $155 million contract with the Baltimore Orioles. That was the big free agent signing yesterday. The biggest news from a St. Louis standpoint, Joe Buck is going into the Baseball Hall of Fame, the Ford C. Frick Award winner for 2026.
And before we get started, I do want to note that with this video recording, it will be made available on the Hall of Fame's website.
That is the National Baseball Hall of Fame conducting a Zoom with Buck, who was asked to make his opening remarks. And he said,
"Thanks, John. I mean, the opening remarks are pretty easy. I'm blown away. I'm sitting here. I was actually sitting here doing work for the Dolphins and Steelers game next Monday on ESPN. Make sure everybody tunes that in. And I got a call with the area code from Cooperstown, and my heart felt like it stopped. I am shocked in many ways. I didn't think this was coming right now.
He was on a list of 10 finalists, including John Rooney and Skip Carey, also with KMOX connections. Congratulations to Joe, who joins his father as the only father-son combo to win the Frick Award. Hockey, the Blues play tonight in Nashville. It's a 7 o'clock face-off. I'm Tom Ackerman on the Voice of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, the genuine, the original, present 100 years of KMOX.
With great sadness that we report that earlier this evening, a plane believed to be carrying Governor Bill Carnahan went down in Jefferson County. There were no survivors.
There, when St. Louis mourned.
I remember I was at home. The news day was over for me when I got the call. It was a rainy night that the governor's plane at first was missing in a thunderstorm.
The most difficult, time-consuming, and emotional thing I've covered in my life.
He served the people of Missouri with dignity and honor for more than 4 decades. And all of Missouri will remember him for his dedication to public service.
There for every headline, every heartbreak, every heartbeat. KMOX, the voice of St. Louis. Brought to you by St. Louis Public Library, St. Louis's original search engine.
250 years ago, a promise was made to connect families and friends near and far. And during the holidays, that promise is more important than ever. That's why USPS is building a better network to meet your needs with timely deliveries, easy and affordable ways to ship, and everything you need to make your season full of holiday cheer or peace of mind, knowing your love will arrive, bringing joy to all. The United States Postal Service. Learn more at USPS.com/holidays.
Total Information AM. Debbie Monterrey, Megan Lynch, Tom Ackerman on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 6:50 and it's time for us to get you updated on your ride in and the weather as well. So let's start out here with Roger Brand, who's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, it's a little busier on the highways, but all in all, not a bad run this morning so far, Debbie. This traffic reports the service of Four Pretty Paws Mobile Pet Spa. If you're traveling on northbound 270 or bogged down, Tesson Ferry to Gravois, a little backup through 44 to about Marshall Road, and then Doherty Ferry up to Ladue is busy. Southbound 61 south of P onto 64 to the Boulevard is typically slow. Eastbound 70 around TR Houston to 79, seeing a little volume there. Northbound 55. Delays from the Union Road overpass up the river to Pear. Again, primarily a slowdown. Seeing a little slowdown on westbound 270 right as you approach 170 or approaching Graham Hanley is getting a little heavy there. Roadwork delays eastbound 64 briefly approaching Greenmount. Westbound 64 west of 3rd Street to the Poplar is also slow. Since 2018, Four Pretty Paws Mobile Pet Spa has provided stress-free one-on-one grooming right at your doorstep. Convenient, personal, and trusted. Book your holiday appointment at fourprettypaws.com. Now serving Southern Illinois. Next update at 6:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
The weather is going to be cold, Roger, and it's going to be cloudy, and we're going to see most of that through the next week. We're going to see a little bit of snow north and east of the city, says AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. That'll happen today, otherwise cloudy overnight, low near 30. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy and cold, high 38. Saturday, another round of snow will pass, mainly north of the city during late morning. Highs 24 to 28 Saturday. Sunday, frigid, high just 16. We're back up to 44 on Monday with a mostly sunny sky. It's 30 right now.
It is 6:52. A former Metro East police officer pleading guilty to charges relating to the theft of nearly $58,000 from his local police union. The Illinois Attorney General's office says Jeremiah Dressler Brighton was the treasurer of the Alton Police Department's Benevolent and Protective Association at the time. An Illinois State Police investigation led to felony charges of theft by deception, and wire fraud. Dressler's sentencing will be a later date.
A former University of San Francisco men's basketball player allegedly broke sports betting rules and is permanently ineligible for collegiate athletics. The NCAA made the announcement yesterday. According to a negotiated resolution made in coordination with USF, Marcus Williams is accused of sharing information with an athlete at another school who used daily fantasy sports platforms to bet on Williams' performance.
The Powerball jackpot climbing to an estimated $1 billion after no one won the grand prize in last night's drawing. There's a reason why we're seeing so many huge lotto jackpots these days. They're harder to win. We get that story from Odyssey LA's Brian Ping.
$935.5 million. Get your tickets ready.
A few years ago, Powerball made a change. It added the number of white balls while reducing the number of red Powerballs from 35 to 26, which made the odds of winning a jackpot substantially higher. They did this to get people to gamble more.
Scratch-off sales were down $12 million. That continues to be alarming, and that's one of the things that we're really looking at.
We have seen some weakness in scratch sales. We've made some adjustments to our game plan, and we'll see if we see an impact from those changes.
That sounds like a conference call of a major casino company, but it's actually from state government meetings. The lotto is big business for public coffers, and author and lottery expert Jonathan Cohen says people from all walks of life take a shot at it.
I think a lot of lottery players sort of reason that they don't have a chance, maybe not even at wealth, at sort of financial stability. And the lottery, even if it's 1 in 292.2 million, offers some chance, mathematically irrational, but sort of culturally, socially, politically, economically makes total sense.
While it's harder to win a jackpot, the increase in the number of white balls means it is easier to win a small prize for getting just some of the numbers right. I'm Brian Ping.
I heard it's somebody's birthday.
Birthday excitement.
It's your birthday.
The birthday shout out is sponsored as always by Renner Garage Door, RENNER, forward and back, family owned and top rated, RennerDoorSTL.com. If you have a birthday or anniversary you would like announced during this segment, email it to us at totalam@kmox.com, totalam@kmox.com. In O'Fallon, Illinois, we're saying a happy 84th birthday to Ron Zorko and to Bill Green from yesterday's kids. And day to Dr. Jody Sowell, the fantastic head of the Missouri Historical Society.
This is the best birthday ever.
It's easy to feel apprehensive about getting screened for cancer or to just keep putting it off. But Siteman Cancer Center wants to remind you how important it is, especially after the age of 40. And they also want you to know how easy it is to get it done. GetScreenedNow.com has all the information you need on cancers like prostate, breast, colon, lung cancer. You can also find out your risk of disease by answering just a few simple questions. And then you can find one of the hundreds of screening locations in the area. Even if you're a little farther out, there is probably a place near you. You have heard this before, but catching cancer early dramatically increases the odds of a successful treatment, especially with so many cancers showing up earlier in life. So do not be intimidated. Siteman will make the process as simple as possible. GetScreenedNow.com. Do it for your family and friends who count on you. Do it for yourself. Visit GetScreenedNow.com.
Retiring soon? Get the information you need by joining Kyle Jones and Matt Allgeier of Fire Capital Management for your retirement highway, Sunday mornings at 9:30. Investment advisory services made available through Pine Ridge Advisors, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Securities made available through AE Financial Services, LLC, member FINRA and SIPC.
Renewal by Andersen is the #1 window and door brand for customer service. Schedule your free inspection today. Call 877-WINDOWS. That's 877-WINDOWS. Or head to rbastl.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6986. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6986. That's 800-575-6986. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Chris and Amy standing up for the Lou.
We had a texter suggest that we use some of the Rams money to buy a high rise in Singapore and let it go
down and load it up with asbestos and
just let
mold.
that sit there. See how they feel about it.
That's
let's not be vindictive.
No, let's be
What-
really vindictive. Screw Singapore if they're going to do this to us.
Chris Ranji, Amy Mark Scores, taking receipts weekdays at 9 on KMOX.
Let's check in with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center. What's the latest?
Well, just some slow going out there right now, Tom. If you're traveling up northbound 270, you're slow right at Gravois. Bumper to bumper, looks like we have an incident, a crash right around Big Bend on northbound 270. So just be prepared. It's backed up at 44 up to that point, and you get around that. And then it's just a little busy, let's call it north of Manchester up to midway between Manchester and Clayton Road, something like that. Southbound 61, you've got delays from Highway P all the way down onto 64. It opens up before you get to Lake St. Louis Boulevard. Then you're good to go all the way into Richmond Heights. Eastbound 70, approaching K into TR Hughes. That's heavy if you're on northbound 55, north of the Union Road overpass up to River to Paris. Slow westbound 64, backs up approaching Route 3 to the Poplar. And eastbound 64, just a little slow through Greenmount. Next update at 7:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It is now 6:59, and it is Thursday, the 11th of December. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
It appears candy and soda are going to be out for people with SNAP benefits in Missouri. I'm Scott Jagow with that story.
I'm Sean Malone. A new lawsuit has been filed against the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department for the Bar PM crash. I've got more coming up.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. Cloudy and cold today with snow passing north and east of the city this afternoon. Our high 38.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. Joe Buck is going into the Baseball Hall of Fame. He is the Ford C. Frick Award winner, the 50th award recipient, and the first father-son combo. We will hear much more from him in the 7 o'clock hour.
Celebrating 100 years of informing and entertaining. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. The voice of St. Louis.
This is the CBS World News Roundup Late Edition, sponsored by CVS Health.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. We've just learned the U.S. helped Venezuela's opposition leader leave her country and secure safe passage to Norway, where supporters have greeted her with joy and praise. Correspondent Vicky Barker is at the foreign desk.
It took a cloak and dagger operation to get Maria Corina Machado out of Venezuela, where she'd been hiding from the regime, and to Oslo to accept her Nobel Peace Prize.
We did get support from the United States government.
The Democratic opposition leader has controversially supported President Trump's policies pressuring the Maduro regime.
The U.S. Coast Guard staged a dramatic military operation off the South American coast to seize a Venezuelan oil tanker. CBS's Charlie D'Agata.
Venezuela's government called the seizure a blatant theft and an act of international piracy. At a rally in Caracas yesterday, Maduro called for an end to, quote, the illegal and brutal interventionism by the U.S.
Attorney General Pam Bondi shared video of armed American forces descending on that ship from a helicopter and taking control without firing a shot. More than a foot of rain has devastated parts of the Pacific Northwest. Tens of thousands of people are facing evacuation orders amid some of the worst flooding in Washington state in decades. CBS's Carter Evans is just east of Seattle in Preston.
The Skyhomish River crested at 24 feet about an hour northeast of Seattle, reaching its highest level since 2006 and 9 feet above flood stage. Tens of thousands were told to evacuate, including some in areas that rarely see evacuation order.
The U.S. suicide rate has fallen. Correspondent Michael Wallace.
The CDC says 48,000 suicide deaths were reported in 2024, about 500 fewer than the year before. Some experts credit the launch of the National Suicide Hotline, 988, 3 years ago. Katina Struble with the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention says more awareness and outreach is key.
There is a huge problem when it comes to even just parents and teachers not wanting to talk about suicide.
Michigan football's former head coach Sharon Moore's in jail a day after he was dismissed for what the university says was an inappropriate relationship with a staffer. No word on why he was arrested, but Pittsfield Township police say they did take someone into custody yesterday for alleged assault. They don't name anyone. Moore's dismissal, all the talk on campus.
Figurehead of your program is just not a good look, not something you want to see as Michigan fan.
Partially because I thought he seemed like such a great, likable person, and so it's really disappointing to hear.
This is CBS News.
Through trusted relationships and national reach, CVS Health is uniquely positioned to simplify care. Learn more at cvshealth.com/Investor Day.
This is the story of the one. As the purchasing manager at a manufacturing plant, she knows the only thing more important than having the right safety gear is having it there when you need it. That's why she partners with Grainger for auto reordering, so her team members can count on her to have cut-resistant gloves on hand, and each shift can run safely and efficiently. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, it done.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. At Viking.com.
It is 7:04, cloudy skies, 30 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. In the news this morning, it appears changes are coming to SNAP benefits in Missouri next year.
The U.S. Department of Agriculture has formally approved the state's request to restrict SNAP funds for certain people on SNAP won't be able to use stamps to buy candy, certain desserts, soda, and other drinks with 50% or less juice. It's part of the Trump administration's Make America Healthy Again initiative. The USDA also approved requests from Hawaii, North Dakota, South Carolina, Tennessee, and Virginia. 18 states have now sought SNAP food choice waivers. Scott Jagow, KMOX News.
A St. Louis City police spokesperson says two dangerous did Wednesday night after they crashed a stolen car on Riverview near Edna. He says the car was recently taken from a delivery driver. Charges are pending.
A new lawsuit has been filed against the St. Louis City police officers crashing into a bar and then arresting its owner.
After having the case against him dropped on Halloween, Chad Morris is now filing his own lawsuit against the St. Louis City Police Department for arresting and allegedly beating him after they crashed into the bar that he co-owns with James Pence, his husband. Now, Pence has already filed a lawsuit, but according to their attorney, Javad Kazali, he doesn't anticipate these being argued at the same time.
That'll be up to the court, but the other lawsuit is a lot farther along than this one is.
I reached out to the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department, but they declined to comment. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Aldermanic President Megan Green is standing by Christine Ingracia, her aide who has agreed to pay $46,000 in fines, says those fines date back years ago.
It does not impact her ability to serve as a staffer. And from our point of view, what we expect in our office is transparency and accountability.
Ingracia is Green's director of operations. Her fines stem from her time as an alderwoman, not for maintaining proper campaign financial records and for using funds on personal expenses like purchases from Amazon.
Following an investigation led by the Missouri Highway Patrol's Special Victims Unit, the St. Genevieve County prosecutors charged two Bloomsdale residents in a case involving alleged sexual abuse of a child and child pornography. 38-year-old Charles Massa is being held in jail without bond for 2 counts of child molestation, 2 counts of child porn possession, 1 count of promoting child pornography. His wife, 35-year-old Kristen Massa, is charged with felony child welfare endangerment and evidence tampering.
There's disagreement over when Missouri's new congressional redistricting bill takes effect, today or whether it must be paused until Missourians vote on it. Secretary of State Denny Hoskins tells MissouriNet the referendum does not go into effect until the signatures have been certified by his office, which has no deadline.
With this referendum, this has only been done like twice in the past 25 years. And so it will take a significant amount of time to certify those results. A lot of it depends on what condition those results come back into and when it receive those results.
The group that gathered the signatures, People Not Politicians, says once signatures are submitted to the Secretary of State, the redistricting bill must be paused until Missourians vote on it. The clash is expected to eventually play out in court between both sides. Local election offices have until July 28th to validate signatures, and then he decides whether to certify those signatures.
The Business Desk, sponsored by Krentz Financial Group, KFGadvisors.com, and the Central West End, the Scottish Arms, which closed in the summer of 2024, is reopening today under new ownership. According to the Business Journal, the ownership group includes restaurant veterans from the Royale and High Point. They've been documenting the Sarah Street Properties renovation on social media. The new Scottish Arms will be open Thursday through Sunday from 5 to midnight. They won't be throwing a big party there, will they? Oh, boy.
It is 7:08, and I don't know if people are partying in the streets. At least we don't have the wind chill that we were dealing with yesterday. We'll take a closer look at your forecast and your drive-in today next.
This is Congressman Bob Onder. 2025 was a turning point for America. House Republicans didn't just talk about the challenges facing our country, we delivered real solutions. I was proud to stand beside President Trump to deliver historic tax cuts, secure our border, and eliminate waste, fraud, and abuse in the government. This year, my office helped constituents by solving over 500 cases and returning to them nearly $1.8 million. I'm Congressman Bob Onder, and I wish you a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives. arthritis.
Hey, Cardinal Cowboy here. Who would have thought a car crash would have led to charities, TV shows, and cheering with the best fans in the world? I'm thankful for every day. And so are my friends at Renner Garage Door. They've been turning garage doors from zero to hero since 1966. With help from trusted brands like Delden, Amar, and LiftMaster, honest family-style service you can count on. So giddy up and get your free repair or replacement quote today. Giddy up!
RENNER, RENNER.
Listen up, Missouri. If you haven't heard by now, Dual Sportsbook is rolling in the Show Me State, and they are kicking things off with an offer that is really tough to beat. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets, win or lose. So whether you're betting football or basketball or hockey or whatever it is, you can do it all on an app that is safe, secure, and super easy to use. Download the FanDuel app today or head to FanDuel.com/Missouri and join the excitement, because it has been a lot of fun since it's been live and rolling in the state of Missouri. It is time to play your game with FanDuel. 21 and over and present in Missouri. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
It's 7:10. Roger Brand's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Tom, I mentioned that crash on northbound 270 at the 270 north of 44. We have a crash about midway between there and Big Bend. It's blocking the two left lanes. Traffic slow at Tesson Ferry and jams approaching Gravois up to that crash scene on northbound Highway 270. Northbound 55 a little slow into 67 now. Bayless up to River to Pear. There's some congestion. Northbound Telegraph from Herb up through Pottle. Not a jam, but it's pretty busy already this morning. Southbound 61, a little Central Parkway. A couple of spots crossing over onto 64 to Lake St. Louis Boulevard where it gets a little heavy, so it's better than it was 10, 15 minutes ago. Eastbound 70, east of Lake St. Louis in toward Highway K is slow, with the Blanchette Bridge into 270 is kind of busier, a little slower pace there. And on the Illinois side, westbound 64 up 3 to the Poplar slow, and eastbound 64 a brief slowdown past Greenmount. Next update is 7:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
KMOX AccuWeather, cloudy and cold today, high 38. Look for some snow to pass north and east of the city late this afternoon into tonight. Otherwise, remaining cloudy overnight, though 30. Mostly cloudy, cold tomorrow, high 38. Saturday, rather cloudy and very cold. Another round of snow will pass mainly north of the city during the late morning and afternoon hours. The temperature will slowly fall in the afternoon. Sunday, sunshine, brisk and frigid. The coldest day so far this winter, the high just 16. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Right now in downtown St. Louis, cloudy skies, 30 degrees.
The city manager in University City, Gregory Rose, is retiring in February. Deputy City Manager Brooke Sharp will take over on an interim basis while a national search for Rose's replacement takes place. Sharp is a graduate of SLU Law School and previously served as city manager of East St. Louis and city clerk for Delwood.
A new Pew Research Center survey finds no evidence of a reported religious resurgence among younger people in the U.S.
Senior researcher Greg Smith says among the young adults they tracked across recent surveys, 55% now identify with a religion. That's about the same as what Pew found 5 years ago with 57%. As for how young men compare religiously today with young women,
very interesting. When it comes to religion, young men and young women look very, that is to say, there's not much difference in the share of people who pray regularly or that religion's very important in their lives. Those numbers are the same among young men and among young women. That's different than in the past. In the past, young women have tended to be more religious than young men. The same thing is true among the population as a whole, among all U.S. adults, young people and old people and everybody in between. Women, on average, tend to be more religious than men. So the fact that young men and young women are equally religious, neither is more religious than the other, is quite interesting.
Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
We will have an in-depth report on Total Information AM next hour coming up at 8:24.
It is 7:14 here on Total Information AM. There are lunches. Correspondent Bradley Blackburn.
Free and subsidized school lunches lead to modest gains in math scores and school enrollment. According to scientists from the University of Ottawa, this happens in both high-income countries and low- and middle-income countries, and also contributes to small gains in height and weight for children.
How ambitious are you in the workplace? Turns out there is a growing gap between men and women when it comes to how much they want to get ahead. According to the annual Women in the Workplace report, 80% of women said they want to be promoted at their jobs versus 86% of men. This is the first time we're seeing this big of a divide when it comes to ambition, and that gap widens even more when you look at entry-level and senior roles. Rachel Thomas of Lean In, a nonprofit research company that helps women achieve their ambitions, is one of the people behind the annual report.
One thing that's happening right now is 50% of companies are placing only prioritizing women's advancement, and 20% are not prioritizing women's advancement at all. And it's not just about lack of commitment. We're seeing signs of action, rolling back policies and programs that we know are particularly valuable to women.
Joe Buck, as you probably have heard by now, has earned the Ford C. Frick Award from the Baseball Hall of Fame. For excellence in broadcasting, he will go into the broadcaster's wing July 24th through the 27th, his Hall of Fame weekend in Cooperstown. He's had a lot of great calls in his career, perhaps none better than this. On Fox, Game 6, 2011.
How many World Series Game 6s have ended with a home run? This, by the way, is the 63rd Game 6 in World Series history out of a total of 107 World Series.
Working it with your dad in 91. Kirby Puckett, Jack's famous call. We'll see you tomorrow night.
2-0.
Nothing else. We'll see you tomorrow night.
Freeze hits it in the air to center. We will see you tomorrow night.
Wow, gives you chills. What an amazing moment that was. David Freese's home run, Joe Buck's call, a tribute to his dad. Talked about it yesterday with the reporters reacting to that tremendous moment of making the Hall of Fame like his father.
Yeah, I get a lot of comments, obviously, about it. It was just a moment. It was a moment in maybe, I think I can definitively say, the best game I've ever witnessed as a fan, as an announcer, whatever. Game 6, obviously, we're talking about 2011 and the Cardinals coming back twice and tying twice and then winning, and David Freese hitting the home run. I never knew why I specifically made that call the way I did, kind of trying to mimic exactly how my dad called it. Until I think it was during the pandemic, and I was watching MLB Network, and they had a replay of the game, and I was watching it, and early in the game, the trivia question was about that moment, and I'm sitting there next to Tim, and Tim says, "Yeah, partner, and your dad said that will see you tomorrow night." And so it was bouncing around in the back of my head. It was our trivia question, like who hit the home run. It was basically 20 years to the day to force a Game 7 for the Minnesota Twins. And we all know. And so that was in my head. And then when Freese hit it, you read the outfielder and you have that moment like, all right, what's coming out of my mouth now? And it just came out. And I tried to not only use the same words, but kind of use the same intonation and use the same cadence that my dad had.
Now will be together in the Baseball Hall of Fame, the only father-son duo to win the Ford C. Frick Award. Pete Alonso, 5 years, $155 million with the Baltimore Orioles. Announced yesterday. Blues play tonight, 7 o'clock face-off at Nashville. Southern Illinois, nice win in college hoops last night, 83-54 over Tennessee Martin. Mizzou takes on Alabama State tonight at 7. Sharon Moore, fired by Michigan as their football coach and then detained by police. We will tell you why he is in jail at least what we know to this point, coming up at 7:45 on KMOX.
What's up, Missouri? Tony Gonzalez here. Your moment is finally here because DraftKings Sportsbook is live in Missouri. You can get in on all the action with fast withdrawals, a safe and secure app, and betting that's easy to use anywhere you go. And the best part, DraftKings keeps the excitement going with awesome promos and offers all season long. That's why it's America's top-rated sportsbook app. Don't wait. New customers sign up today. Bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Let's go, Missouri. Get in the game.
Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code KMOX. New Missouri customers bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets instantly. That's code KMOX. In partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 and over. Physically present in Missouri. Eligibility. DraftKings.com/sportsbook. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos.
Folks, you're running out of time to get that Christmas tree. Christmas trees and greenery are available while supplies last at Ted Drew's Frozen Custard. Top quality pine and fir trees, including customer favorites like the Fraser fir, the Scotch pine. They have all kinds of great things there. And of course, they have the concretes, the malts, the shakes, sundaes, floats, ice cream sodas. Do you know they have ice cream sodas at Ted Drew's? I actually did not until I was made well aware of that. But I love the Heath Bar concrete. I love a good concrete at Ted Drew's, and you should celebrate the St. Louis tradition at its finest with Ted Drew's Frozen Custard. Make Ted Drew's part of your holiday tradition. Take a quart home with you and enjoy Ted's delicious frozen custard with your friends during the holidays. Ted Drew's, where tradition tastes great and the holidays feel.
Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
7:21, time for us to check in with Roger Brandt and see what's happening on the roadways from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, they're making headway with the crash, Debbie. The flatbeds are on the scene, northbound 270, north of 44 with this crash, but still have the two left lanes blocked. So if you're traveling northbound 270, it slows north of 55 and jams past up to that crash scene. After that, of course, it's good to go even up through Ladue. South 270 at 364, and then south of Olive down to Ladue is a little busy. Eastbound Highway 70, some slow traffic approaching Lake St. Louis Boulevard and toward Bryan Road, and from east of 94 into 270, a couple of slow spots. Southbound 61, Wensfield Parkway onto 64 up to almost 364. Both sides of Wing Haven is heavy from Clarkson almost all the way into 141, and then 170 into about Big Bend. Westbound 64, Hampton to Hanley. That's busier. Northbound 55, a more solid backup from just north of the Union Road overpass up to River to Perry. Northbound Telegraph, north of Herb, up to Pottle. Looks like that's more stop and go. Westbound 64 slows at 3rd Street. Some of that stop and go to the Poplar. And eastbound 64 still a slow down into Greenmount. Next update at 7:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St.
Boots, the Midwest's largest boot stores. Boots for every walk of life. Rugged work boots, stylish fashion, comfortable hiking boots, cowboy classics, uniform boots, and motorcycle gear. Chuck's Boots in Fenton and St. Peter's. Chuck'sBoots.com.
And that weather forecast from Joe Lundberg, an area of snow, he says, will pass north and east of the city late this afternoon into tonight. Otherwise, we're looking at a cloudy and cold day, high of 38, low near 30 tonight, mostly cloudy and cold, high 38 tomorrow. Currently, it's cloudy, 30 downtown at the Arch.
The news continues at 7:22. A pickup truck driver could be in legal trouble after a fatal hit and run. The Missouri Highway Patrol says it happened late Wednesday afternoon on eastbound Route 115 near Hanley in St. Louis County. Troopers say a 62-year-old St. Louis man stepped into traffic and was hit. They found the 77-year-old Overland man who struck him a short time later.
We found out last week another $40 million federal dollars will be going directly to clean up Coldwater Creek. Dawn Chapman with Just Mom's STL explaining where that money comes from.
This is a settlement. So this is reimbursed Army Corps for what they've already spent. And the Department of Energy was found to be the most liable. They had to pay $91 million. The total settlement was $150 million, but $40 million of that is going directly back to Coldwater Creek.
The settlement occurred a year ago, but we're just finding out what the Army Corps is going to do with the funds.
Missouri is facing a big legal fight over new congressional boundaries in the state. A group trying to stop that map from going into effect turned in 300,000 signatures. Secretary of State Denny Hoskins says those revised congressional districts will still go live today. Here's KMOX legal analyst Brad Young.
First of all, is congressional redistricting subject to Missouri's referendum law, meaning when the Missouri legislature says we're going to redraw the districts, can what the legislature decided, can that be overturned by a referendum of the people? That's the first question.
Another issue is what constitutes a valid signature.
Because a lot of these signatures were gathered before this bill was even signed into law. So can you collect signatures to a law before it becomes a law?
A lot of hype over the new driverless taxi company. So what can we expect as Waymo spreads through St. Louis? We asked KMOX business analyst Jerome Katz.
What they do, their business model is to come into a town, and what they take is the cream of the crop. They are going to double down at the airport because they want those people coming in, those business people coming in, who will pay $40 to $60 to go from the airport to their hotel in Clayton or downtown or the Central West End. And they just want to have it clean, predictable. What that does is it takes some of the most lucrative of the taxi and rideshare opportunities in town. And when Waymo comes into a town, they basically flood the business district so that they become a popular choice there. Even if they're charging 30% more than Uber, there are people, business people, or women who want to go from point A to point B and they don't want to have a man drive them. They'll pay an extra $5 to have that Waymo experience. All of these things let Waymo skim the most premium of the people buying fares.
Do you think you'll try it?
Oh, absolutely. I've ridden with Waymo before, and because it's totally sci-fi, and just seeing how well it works is kind of fun. Be aware, Waymo cars run slow. They stop often. They're talking about creating a little bit more aggressive driving model for Waymo, but as long as we're talking about robots doing it, I'm okay, Eddie.
An environmental group is suing to keep President Trump's face off national park passes.
Interior Secretary Doug Burgum unveiled the new annual pass in a
Department's honor to showcase the America the Beautiful pass.
It features the faces of President Trump and President George Washington. In its lawsuit, the Center for Biological Diversity cites a federal law that requires the passes to display an image of public lands taken by the winner of an annual photo competition. The center's director calls the Trump pass the president's crassest, most ego-driven action yet. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
It's 7:27. Time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up. If you or anyone you care about is facing a family legal matter, call Cordell & Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years divorce. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Divorce touches all areas of your life, your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. When you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on.
If you or anyone you care about is facing divorce, contact Cordell & Cordell today. With over 100,000 clients served, we understand the challenges you're facing on a personal level. Call Cordell & Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. That's 1-855-GET-LEGAL. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. 600 Kelwood, St. Louis.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9834. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9834. That's 800-575-9834. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Hey, good morning. You're heading to the airport, right?
Yep, thanks for checking. I like the car.
How long have you been a rideshare driver?
About 3 years now, but I really enjoy it.
Isn't it hard to make money these days with the price of gas being so high?
Not for me. I use Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get real money back when you get gas with the Upside app?
Yep, I get real cash back every time I get gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make around $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code RAIN to get up to a $5 per gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code RAIN to get up to a $5 bonus on your first tank. That's code RAIN.
It is 7:30 right now in downtown St. Louis. Cloudy skies, holding steady at 30 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
Ackerman, Roger Branson, the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, just after our last report, they cleared that crash, thankfully, north 270, north of 44 between there and Big Bend. Traffic is jamming, though, approaching Tesson Ferry up to 44. Then you get a little bit of a breather. Doherty Ferry to Manchester, it's slow after that. South 270, a little busy at 364 and approaching Ladue. Not that big of a deal on that run. Eastbound Highway 70, Lake St. Louis, most of the way into Highway K. There's a little slowdown past Cave Springs. A couple of heavy spots between 94 and the southbound 61, just slow south of Wensville Parkway into 64, but it goes all the way to 364, backed up both sides of Wing Haven, approaching Clarkson to about Timberlake, and a brief slowdown at the Interbelt. Westbound 64, Hampton headed out through Big Bend's heavy. South 170 bogs down pretty close to Brentwood. Northbound 55, midway up from 61 to 67's heavy. You've got a backup approaching the Union Road overpass up to River to Paris, still slow past Loughborough. Westbound 64 from the 70 split to the Poplar now is heavy, and eastbound 64 still just that brief slowdown approaching Greenmount. Next update is 7:40 from the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It's not going to be too bad today because we don't have the wind we had yesterday. Today and tomorrow, both days, cloudy and cold with highs of 38 degrees. Possibility of a little snow passing through tonight, this afternoon into tonight. Right now, it's 30 degrees with cloudy skies.
The St. Louis City Board of Aldermen plans to ask voters for permission to use funds earmarked for Metrolink light rail bus lines instead. KMOX asked, do aldermen need to take that step?
That question was raised to Aldermanic President Megan Green during the committee meeting. She says they wish to ask voters either way as a show of good faith.
Just because there is perhaps a legal case that could be made that we don't need to go back to voters, I don't think that means that we should.
In contrast from the original bill, which restricted the city to spend this money on a train line, the new bill keeps the city's options open for a train line instead of a bus line if the political landscape changes. Green held this bill in committee with no vote at this time. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Police are gathering evidence. Gunfire happened around 4:30 this morning in the 2600 block of Rutger, west of Jefferson. Police say the victim, identified only as a woman, was critically injured.
An employee at the Illinois State Police Communications Center in Collinsville wins a statewide award. Melissa Dearworth was chosen ISP Telecommunicator of the Year. Dearworth's peers at Troop 8 headquarters says she displays dedication, hard work, and outstanding service to law enforcement and the public.
Louis man is going into the holiday season with a nice award.
I received an award for Second Chance Father of the Year, and it's been great.
That's Sean Hall Bay, a graduate of the Fathers and Family Support Centers program. CEO Sherry Tillis says Sean did a fantastic job.
He excelled in being a parent. He excelled in his career path. He is doing an amazing job in his marriage. We've met and talked with his wife, and he's even gotten custody of his daughter now.
The organization's family formation program teaches necessary skills for effective parenting and co-parenting, financial literacy, employment opportunities, and more.
The news sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com at 7:33. Your Money Minute next.
Chris and Amy standing up for the Lou.
We had a texter suggest that we use some of the Rams money to buy a high-rise in Singapore and let it go
and load it up with asbestos and
just let
mold.
that sit there. See how they feel about it.
Let's not be vindictive.
No, let's be really good. Screw Singapore if they're going to do this to us.
Chris Ranji, Amy Mark Scores, taking receipts weekdays at 9 on KMOX.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for
for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. ETHOS, ethos.com/life.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime.
Our entry-level data plans start at just $20 a month. And for a limited time, switch and get your second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you and get your second month free today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional details.
It is 7:35 and it's time for your money report from Bloomberg, sponsored by Busey Bank.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Coca-Cola is shaking up the C-suite. Chief Executive Officer James Quincy is stepping down and will be replaced by the company's Chief Operating Officer Enrique Braun. Quincy has been CEO for 9 years. Under his management, Coca-Cola shares rose more than 60%. Ship change will happen in March. Turning to trading, stock futures are lower following yesterday's Federal Reserve-fueled rally on Wall Street. Disappointing earnings from Oracle is weighing on the markets this morning. The company has taken on a lot of debt to build artificial intelligence data centers. Investors want to see all of the spending turn into revenue quickly. And YouTube TV plans to launch more than 10 new subscription plans in early 2025, including one focused on sports. The company also plans to release news and family-themed options. YouTube hasn't released details on pricing for its new bundles. The platform charges $83 a month for its base plan. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
This is the run my own business dream. This is the colleges paid dream. This is the retire early dream. This is Busey, where your dreams and possibilities become moments. Through trusted guidance and expertise, through lifelong relationships. Because we're here to help you achieve the life you've always envisioned. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. Member FDIC.
Bet the game day action right from your phone. Download the Caesars Sportsbook app now. Use code RADIOMO. Place your first bet of $5 or more and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. Open to new users in Missouri who are 21 or older. First wager after registration must qualify and win. And bonus bets expire 30 days after receipt. See Caesars.com/promotions or the promo app for full terms. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
CVS Health supports people in the moments that matter, from picking up a prescription to connecting care. With nearly 5 million daily interactions and serving 185 million consumers and 1.5 million healthcare professionals, CVS Health holds a trusted place in healthcare. By simplifying care and improving health, we're helping people get the care they need. Learn more at cvshealth.com/investor day.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment? That's a lie. Most timeshares can be bought online for $1. To find out what your timeshare is worth and to cancel it, call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit kit free with all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley for your free exit info guide. 800-990-1551. That's 800-990-1551.
Right now, someone in a Hardee's kitchen is about to warm up your holiday with the new grilled cheese bacon burger. Charbroiled 100% Angus beef, bacon, and Swiss and American cheese melting on our soft, buttery sourdough. And our new grilled cheese breakfast sandwich with sausage or bacon and a fried egg. For your inner child and your grown-up cravings, the new grilled cheese bacon burger and breakfast sandwich. For a limited time, only at Hardee's. Cinnamon Raisin Biscuits are back. Unwrap them while you can. Only for a limited time at participating restaurants.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime.
Our entry-level data plans start at just $20 a month. And for a limited time, switch and get your second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you and get your second month free today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional details.
Sunday, the Chiefs are entertaining the Chargers at Arrowhead.
Satan Cancer Center game time, 11 a.m. Satan Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer.
The Chiefs, the Chargers. Hear the game here on your home for Chiefs football. 104.1 FM KMOX.
Are you having a holiday party for your office? Well, a workplace consultant has tips on how you can use such a get-together to take your career to the next level.
The holiday office party is a work party. Emphasis on work, says Rick Cobb of the workplace consulting firm To Discern. He tells the Noon Business Hour that if you want to make an impression, thank the people who organized the party.
As soon as you possibly can, certainly you want to thank the people who were responsible for preparing or throwing the event, the sponsors, i.e. the executives.
He says the gathering is an opportunity to break out of your comfort zone and meet with people in the office you don't usually see.
This makes sure that you don't waste all of your time at the event getting cornered by your buddy in your fantasy football pool and never really accomplishing anything except knocking down a few beers.
And he says you can make a graceful exit before your colleagues have one drink too many. Rob Hart, News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
It is 7:40. Here's Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, busy out on the drive-in, but no problems of any consequence right now, Debbie. But we're still looking at backed up traffic northbound 55, approaching 44, most of the way up to Ladue. Get a little breather, a little bit briefly north of Manchester. South 270, just approaching Ladue from south of Olive is a little busy. That's not bad at all. If you're on eastbound 70, Lake St. Louis to Bryan Road, it's slow. Approaching 94 to the Blanchette Bridge after that, not as much of a delay. Southbound 61, Wentzville Parkway into 64. Busy up to the Boulevard. It's jammed both sides of Winghaven. There's slow stuff from Annie Guns to about Timberlake. And then right around McKnight to Big Bend. South 170, pretty heavy at Olive. So westbound 64 backs up from Kings Highway. Headed out through Bellevue, kind of slow past Big Bend. Northbound 55, a jam from the Union Road overpass up to Weber. And then it's slow from there past Virginia. Downtown westbound 64, Ball to the Poplars slow. Eastbound 64, east of 50 through Greenmounts heavy. Next update is 7:50 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
From our family at Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation to yours. Happy holidays.
You want to hurry this up, Mark? I'm freezing my baguettes off.
Relax, Grandpa. Air Comfort Service is on their way. Aubrey, you're not doing anything. You want to let me know when they get here?
Honey, her eyes are frozen shut. Plus,
avoid a 5-alarm emergency with an HVAC system check from Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. Learn more at aircomfortservice.com.
At 7:42, let's check in with our AccuWeather meteorologist, Joe Lundberg, and see what this week has in store for us.
Well, cold, lots of it, and it's going to be in varying degrees of cold, but the worst is about to come descending upon us this weekend. Today, just a lot of clouds. Our high 38 looks like an area of snow will pass to the north and east of the city late this afternoon into the first half of tonight before moving away. There may be a few sprinkles or snowflakes near the city very late this afternoon and this evening. And it remains cloudy overnight, low 30. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, the high 38. Another system gets a little closer to us Saturday during the late morning and afternoon hours. It'll scrape the north and east suburbs with some snow, and there may be several inches where it does snow. Our high in the mid to upper 20s, and temperatures actually fall in the afternoon, and then a bitter cold day for Sunday. Despite sunny skies, our high 16, easily the coldest day so far this winter. The good news is after that, the cold starts to retreat. With sunshine Monday, we bounce back up to 44, and I think we could hit 50 later next week. 28 at St. Peter's, 28 in Florissant, mostly cloudy, 30 downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It's 7:43, sports in 2 minutes. Illinois sheriffs are hoping Governor Pritzker and leading state lawmakers will listen to their plea for reform of the Safety Act.
In the southern Illinois town of Chester, Randolph County Sheriff Jared Peters says several tragic incidents have happened because of the relatively new law, and he doesn't want to undo its intent, rather make changes to safeguard victims, police, and communities. Peters outlined several points about how the no-cash bail system has negatively affected counties, including their courts and victim services. The sheriff also is asking for the list of detainable offenses to be expanded and for judges to have more discretion in pretrial detention. He says victims and witnesses need to be contacted and interviewed prior to an offender's release from custody. Brad Choate, KMOX News.
The head of a public policy think tank at Southern Illinois University, Carbondale, says the topic of congressional redistricting among the states is a race to the bottom. John Shaw tells KMOX it's been disheartening to watch what Republicans and Democrats have been doing to prepare for the 2026 midterms.
I hope somehow
the forces of reason prevail and this redistricting food fight stops and people just gear up and the two parties try to put their best cases to the American public in the midterm elections, see what happens.
Shaw says Republicans need to deliver on improving the economy, and Democrats have to figure out what they stand for.
The House has approved a $900 billion defense bill.
It was a bipartisan effort, passing by a vote of 312 to 112. The bill codifies much of President Trump's national security agenda, but also demands the Pentagon work more closely with Congress and tries to block Trump's plan to withdraw troops from Europe. Washington State Democrat Adam Smith.
Does it stop all those bad things that President Trump and Pete Hegseth are doing right now? No, but it really couldn't. It's a step in the right direction towards reasserting the authority of Congress.
It's expected the Senate will also pass the bill. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
Wednesday's House passage of the 2026 National Defense Authorization Act, drawing praise from Missouri and Illinois members of Congress. We'll have more on that coming up.
Let's check in with KMOX's Matt Pauley.
The winter meetings are over and the Cardinals do not make a trade. While Cardinals president of baseball operations Chaim Bloom continues conversations with other teams, the entire industry seems to be stuck with only free agent signings occurring and the trade market not yet opening up. Bloom's comments make it feel like they did not get any closer to a trade during the final day of the meetings on Wednesday.
Pretty similar vibe to the last couple of days, just ongoing conversations. All the planes are still in the air right now.
Brendan Donovan, JoJo Romero, and Wilson Contreras appear to be the Cardinals who are most likely to be traded, but for now, they and all of their teammates remain Cardinals as fans wait for the trade market to start to pick up. In Orlando at baseball's winter meeting, KMOX Sports.
You can add another KMOXer to the broadcasting wing of the Baseball Hall of Fame.
For the first time since 1982, St. Louis has a World Series winner.
Joe Buck with that call on Fox in 2006. He called 24 World Series on Fox. His first one back when he was 27 years old. He told that story a little earlier on this show. You heard it from Yankee Stadium. That was a exciting time in his life. Did he ever think back then that he'd be a Hall of Famer?
Well, the kid wouldn't believe it. This was not anything that, as we all say now, was on my bingo card when I was a little kid. I just wanted to be my dad. And that didn't mean I wanted to be my dad as a Hall of Fame announcer. I just saw everything about him. I saw the way he carried himself. I saw the way he treated people. I saw the way he went about work. I saw him at his sickest with Parkinson's and diabetes and a pacemaker and everything else that he had going on. But my God, after he took a nap in the afternoon, he couldn't wait to get down to the ballpark, go in the players' lounge, sit back there, BS with the players, and get his insulin shot, and then go up and do the game. He loved working, and I think that was another great gift that I got from my dad. Is, he never said no, which might have been a flaw, but he never said no, and he always wanted to go to work. And I think he would be proud of, when I went to Louisville in 1989, I left Indiana, where the number one team in college football resides. I left IU and I went in the 2 summers to go broadcast AAA baseball. And he told friends at the time, he never really said this stuff to me, but he said, we're going to find out if Joe really likes doing baseball as much as he thinks or says he does. Because, it was still not bad, but it was bus rides and commercial air travel. And I was also the traveling secretary. I worked with a great guy, Jim Kelch, who's had a tremendous career himself. And
what a great ride this has been for Joe Buck. What a speech that's going to be in Cooperstown the final weekend of July. Former Michigan football coach Sharon Moore was still jailed this morning, according to court records, less than 24 hours after he was fired for what the university said was an inappropriate relationship with a staff member. The Waukesha County Jail did not provide information about why the 39-year-old Moore was detained, details on his bond, or whether any court appearances were scheduled. In response to media inquiries about Moore, Pittsfield Township Police Department said officers took a person into custody after investigating an alleged assault. The police statement did not mention Moore by name. The Blues play tonight in Nashville. It's a 7 o'clock face-off for them. Mizzou will play at home against Alabama State. Good win last night for Southern Illinois, beating Tennessee Martin. I'm Tom Ackerman on the Voice of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
KMOX, celebrating 100 years. Presented by Purina, your pet, our passion. Now, a KMOX Pioneer.
Long before modern broadcasting took shape, Franz Laux became the very first full-time play-by-play announcer at KMOX and one of the most influential voices in early American radio. Beginning in the 1920s, Laux brought Cardinals baseball to life with his detailed storytelling that connected fans across the Midwest. His national broadcasts for CBS, including multiple World Series, helped cement KMOX as the home of big league baseball on the radio.
There goes a drive. Looks like it might be pretty close to the wall. It's taken out there in right field. Ball being cleared out.
A true pioneer, Franz Laux laid the foundation for every great sports broadcaster who followed and helped build KMOX into the sports voice of St. Louis. Franz Laux, a KMOX pioneer.
Neil Forever performs Neil Diamond live in concert at the Factory in Chesterfield on Friday, January 9th.
It's fantastic.
Friday, January 9th, Neil Forever performing all the hits of Neil Diamond at the Factory.
He is a great performer.
He's amazing.
Sounds just like Neil.
Rock and roll, get on board. Tickets at Ticketmaster.com.
Winterfest is back for the 10th year in Keener Plaza, now through January 11th. Enjoy Winterfest traditions, including ice skating, s'mores, and igloos underneath 100,000 twinkling lights in the shadow of the Gateway Arch. Grab a bite or drink from downtown and enjoy a family-friendly New Year's Eve fireworks spectacular. Winterfest, hosted by Gateway Arch Park Foundation, presented by Bank of America and Worldwide Technology. For more info, KMOX.com/events.
Debbie Monterrey, Megan Lynch, Tom Ackerman. Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Hey, let's get you caught up here on traffic and weather, starting with Roger Brand, who's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, right now, Debbie, we're backed up on North 270 from 55 most of the way up to Tesson Ferry. Then it's slow approaching Gravois, really all the way up to Ladue. South 270, south of, let's say, approaching Olive down to Ladue is kind of busy as well. Eastbound 70, Lake St. Louis into Bryan Road, slow. There's a couple of spots running from 94 into the Earth City area. It's a little slow. Lindbergh through Cypress. Eastbound 64 from 364 past Winghaven is heavy. Through the Chesterfield Parkway is backed up, and then east of Lindbergh it's slow through the Interbelt. Westbound 64 backs up at the Science Center. It's pretty heavy out to Big Bend. Northbound 55. It's a little slow approaching Revis. Then it's jammed Union Road overpass up to River to Parrot, but still slow past Virginia. Eastbound 44 approaching the Poplar through the bridges downtown heavy. Westbound 64 3rd Street to the bridge is still slow, and a short jam. Eastbound 64 east of 50 through Greenmount. Northbound Route 3 is backed up from almost Monsanto up to the bridge as well. Next update at 7:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg says it's going to be a cold one again today, cloudy and cold, high of 38 degrees. An area of snow will pass north and east of the city late this afternoon into tonight, says Joe. Otherwise, remaining cloudy overnight, a low near 30. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy and cold, a high of 38. It's 30 right now.
It is now 7:53. A new AP NORC poll finds President Trump's approval on the economy falling substantially since re-entering the White House. The survey finds only 31% of U.S. adults now approve of how Trump is handling the economy, and that's down from 40% in March, marks the lowest economic approval he's registered in his first or second term. Trump's approval also has slipped on other issues that were strengths for him at the beginning of this term, including immigration and crime. Trump's overall job approval hasn't fallen as steeply.
In a city celebrated for its world-class dining, great food is never hard to find in San Francisco. But a straightforward check, that is a much rarer course.
One restaurant is serving up something bold, as correspondent Ite Haud reports. It could just be the tip of the iceberg.
It's another packed night at La Cigale.
where Chef Joseph Magadow is the star of the show. He's preparing a high-end Southern French feast for the 15 people who were lucky enough to get a front row seat.
It's all family style.
It looks like the start of any other great dinner, until you realize this place has cut out the part that usually causes the most indigestion.
You get to the end, and all of a sudden you have this check, and it's like a Spirit Airlines bill, where it's like plus this, plus that, plus that.
So La Cigale did something rare. They 86 the surprises, restaurant lingo for taking them off the menu. Food here is all-inclusive, $140 per person. No tax, no service fees, no tip.
There's no tip line on the check. When you sign your bill, that's the end of the transaction.
A growing number of restaurants are now test driving tip-free dining, a pushback against what many call tipflation. A recent survey found 41% of Americans think tipping has gotten out of control. Among them, Jenny Bennett.
Everywhere you go, even for the smallest little item, they're flipping around the little iPad.
Servers here make about $40 an hour, whether the night is slow or slammed. The upside, more stability. The downside, no more of those big tip nights.
Of course.
But for Claire Bivens, it's a trade worth making.
It creates a sense of security for everyone and definitely takes a degree of pressure off from each night.
La Cigale also offers paid vacation, a perk most restaurant workers only dream of. But for Chef Magadow, ditching tips also means leaving behind an old system.
It was a model that was created to take formerly enslaved people and put them in a position where their wages are still being controlled by the guest.
As for the bottom line, it hasn't taken a hit, says hostess Laurel Jansen.
You guys are fully booked.
We are fully committed this evening.
Fully committed. Because here, the only tip you need is to show up early. Everything after that is just gravy.
I don't know. Just put the gratuity on the bill. You don't have to tip. Just if the restaurants say this is what your gratuity is, we're going to include it in the bill. Done. There. I solved the problem. I don't know why it's such a big deal.
What percentage should the restaurant put down as the gratuity?
Typically, what do? Like 20, 19?
I mean, it's supposed to be like 15%, right? But then they always say, like, if you wanted to leave an 18% tip, it would be this, a 20% or a 25% tip when the food is already very expensive. I hate when you're going to things where they're not actually doing anything for you. They're just
that's what I'm talking.
They're just ringing up your order and they turn around the thing and pressure you to tip them.
Yeah,
I'm tipping you for this? What?
For traditional restaurant, I think.
Yeah.
I think tipping's cool, but I hear what you're saying. I'm a 20% guy, by the way.
Yeah, I generally am as well.
I go higher if you're really good. It's 7:57.
Your morning news and information. Total Information AM.
Hey, you don't have to tip at Genesis of St. Charles. Just go there. 5601 Veterans Memorial Parkway. That is a fantastic car dealership. You can get a free coffee. You don't have to leave a tip for that either, or a bottle of water. It is a tremendous place to get one of the best vehicles out there right now, the Genesis. A premier Genesis dealer is Genesis of St. Charles. In fact, they're the number one Genesis dealer in Missouri. And they also have the first and only standalone Genesis dealership right here in our area, St. Charles County, Genesis of St. Charles. The signature event means that they get more. They will pay more for your trade. They will, on any new Genesis purchase, give you all the fixins, the complimentary Genesis service valet, 3 years. That means complimentary vehicle pickup and delivery, plus a loaner vehicle at no additional costs. If you're in the market for something new, I'm here to tell you Genesis is that vehicle. Test drive the Genesis. You'll see what I'm talking about. Tremendous and a great dealership. GenesisofStCharles.com.
Legacy boxes are still in stock. With Christmas just around the corner, there's still time to buy the best Christmas gift ever. Legacy Box.
That's right, Adam. Order today and Legacy Box ships immediately. It'll arrive ready to wrap and place under the tree.
Gather the family together this Christmas and collect all your old VHS and camcorder tapes, slides, pictures, and film reels. Then you can binge on the good old days.
From fading over time to risks like fire and water damage, your memories aren't protected unless they're on a digital format. Legacy Box helps you replay those great moments from the past, from Christmas morning to your wedding day.
Legacy Box is the world's largest digitizer of home movies and photos. All the work is done right here in the USA, and over 1 million customers have trusted Legacy Box.
This Christmas is the time to digitize. Visit legacybox.com/value for exclusive holiday savings. That's legacybox.com/value for last-minute shopping. legacybox.com/value.
Retiring soon? Get the information you need by joining Kyle Jones and Matt Allgeier of Fire Capital Management at 9:30. Investment advisory services made available through Pine Ridge Advisors, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Securities made available through AE Financial Services, LLC, member FINRA and SIPC.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com.
Here's Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, if you're traveling on northbound Highway 270, we still have backed up traffic northbound from about Tesson Ferry. Not backed up, but it's slow all the way up to Ladue. If you're on northbound 55, it's backed up from the Union Road overpass up to the river to Pear, and then slow up to Virginia after that. Next update at 8:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
News, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. Uncle Sam lends a hand. We've learned a Nobel laureate slipped out of her country in disguise.
I'm Vicky Barker at the Foreign Desk in London. Out of hiding after 16 months, Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado says the U.S. government helped her get to Norway to accept the 2025 Peace Prize. She says there are many people she hopes to thank today.
Certainly, I don't want to put them in risk right now.
Machado voiced implicit approval of President Trump's threats and actions on Venezuela, saying it's drug traffickers and terrorist states who are funding the repressive Maduro regime.
The Wall Street Journal says Machado wore a wig and got past 10 military checkpoints to reach a wooden fishing boat that took her across the open Caribbean to Curacao, where she spent the night before a private jet whisked her to Oslo. Later this morning, the Senate takes up one of the main issues at the heart of this fall's government shutdown. CBS's Jared Hill.
The chamber set to vote on dueling bills as COVID-era healthcare subsidies are expected to skyrocket at the end of the year. Dems pushing for an extension, Republicans a revamp. Neither is expected to pass.
Washington state is under a state of emergency from a barrage of torrential rain that sent rivers flowing over their banks. It's triggered a mudslide that crashed down onto a highway and trapped people in floodwaters. This woman had to leave her home in Mount Vernon.
It's scary. We got in this morning and I had to evacuate my animals and all my belongings.
Amtrak trains between Seattle and Vancouver have been suspended. More than 17,000 customers have no electricity. A highly contagious virus has shut down a school in New England.
Roberts Elementary in Medford, about 5 miles north of Boston, is undergoing a deep cleaning after over 130 students were reported absent on Wednesday. Students and staff who did show up for school also felt symptoms of an upset stomach. The main suspect, norovirus. The interim superintendent says out of an abundance of caution, cafeteria equipment is going to be examined to rule out any other potential causes. James Rojas for CBS News, Boston.
Time Magazine's Person of the Year isn't a single being, but the architects of AI. Time's Bill Perigo.
This year was really the year that the world doubled down on artificial intelligence, that the technology infiltrated many aspects of our lives, that it became clear that it could do many productive parts of the economy.
Other top Time contenders, the CEOs of NVIDIA and OpenAI, Pope Leo, President Trump, and New York's mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani. Dow futures down 3. This is CBS News.
Sponsored by Progressive. See why over 43 million drivers trust Progressive to stay protected on the road. See for yourself at progressive.com.
At 8:03, we have cloudy skies, 28 degrees downtown at the Arch. Today is Thursday, December 11th. I'm Megan Lynch. A new bill to re-ask voters how the city should spend tax dollars raised to construct Green Line Transit is more open-minded than the original.
Aldermanic President Megan Green is sponsoring the legislation, which, if passed, still allows the city to construct a train line instead of expanding its bus line if the political landscape changes. She explains the shift to a more open-ended bill.
We don't know what public transit is going to look like in the future. And so while the federal funding environment right now is not conducive to funding North-South Metrolink, that doesn't mean in 20 or 30 years that it won't be a different funding environment.
Green also says the bill being drafted this way allows the city to shift back to a train line without having to go back to the voters. No vote on the bill was taken in committee. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
A St. Louis City police spokesperson says 2 dangerous adults were arrested Wednesday night after they crashed a stolen car on Riverview near Edna. He says the car was recently taken from a delivery driver. Charges are pending. A pickup driver could be in legal trouble after a fatal hit and run. The Missouri Highway Patrol says it happened late Wednesday afternoon on eastbound Route 115 near Hanley in St. Louis County. Troopers say a 62-year-old St. Louis man stepped into traffic and was hit. They found the 77-year-old Overland man who struck him a short time later. Certain junk foods may be off the list for Missourians with SNAP benefits.
Missouri is one of several states wanting to ban the use of SNAP funds for candy, certain desserts, soda, and other sweet beverages. Wednesday, the U.S. Department of Agriculture formally approved Missouri's request, along with those from Hawaii, North Dakota, South Carolina, Tennessee, and Virginia. So far, 18 states have sought SNAP food choice waivers. They're collaborating with the federal government's Make America Healthy Again initiative. Missouri was also approved for allowing hot, ready-to-eat rotisserie chicken through SNAP. The changes take effect next October. Scott Jagal, KMOX News.
Schnucks recalling ground beef sold from its Lindell store. The beef was sold between 2 and 10 p.m. Could have pieces of a metal clip. A group called People Not Politicians has gathered 305,000 signatures to try to let Missouri voters overturn the state's new congressional voting districts. Now that the signatures are submitted, the group says the redistricting law must be paused until voters decide. Secretary of State Denny Hoskins tells Missouri Net he disagrees.
The Attorney General's office just came out with an opinion that says that the referendum does not go into effect until the signatures have been certified by the Secretary of State's office.
Hoskins says once the election authorities validate signatures, he decides whether to certify the signatures, which he says does not have a deadline. His office says the deadline to finalize ballot wording for the November 2026 election is September 8th. The Bethalto Police Department warning a group of women who stole money from a donation box. They were caught on camera. In a Facebook post, the department says it would be better for you to come to us than the other way around. There's a Christmas Village display in Central Park. A donation box is up there, and 3 women were seen taking money from it just after 5 Monday night. Former Illinois House Speaker Michael Madigan has asked President Trump for a pardon of his corruption conviction. Nancy Hardy has details.
The Office of the Pardon Attorney shows Madigan has asked for a pardon after completion of his sentence. It's not clear when he made the request. The once powerful Democrat started serving his 7.5-year sentence for conspiracy and wire fraud in the ComEd bribery scheme 2 months ago. The Tribune, which first reported the petition, says Madigan also tried to get help from President Trump before he was sentenced. Madigan is slated to be released in 2032, right before he turns 90, but given his age, he could be released to home confinement. President Trump commuted ex-Governor Rod Blagojevich's prison sentence in 2020 and gave him a full pardon earlier this year.
From the business desk, sponsored by Krentz Financial Group, KFGadvisors.com. The Salvation Army hopes to start renovations on its fire damage treatment center in Midtown in February. The St. Louis Development Corporation accepting bids for a variety of work on the project through January 15th. The treatment center on Washington Avenue opened in 2016. It offers treatment services to those struggling with addiction, but a fire in March shut that facility down. Coming up on Total Information AM, we're going to look at the state of the economy for 2025 and look ahead to 2026 with John Horn, an economics professor at Olin Business School at WashU. First, though, we'll get traffic and weather. That's in 2 minutes. It's 8:08.
I get asked a lot on when's the best time to buy a furnace or an air conditioner. My response always is, with us, it doesn't really matter. I don't mark your prices up because it's cold or it's hot. But with the tax credit that's expiring at the end of the month of December for 2025 and 0% interest on all of our products right now. So you get 0% for the month of December on the majority of what we offer you, furnaces or air conditioners or both. That's a big savings to you, and it makes it really, really affordable, not just because it's Christmas or anything like that. It's just if you can eliminate interest, that's a lot of money a month that you save. So if you're in the need for a furnace or a furnace and air, call me. One easy number in Missouri and Illinois, 314-293-2600. Or Bart Inman, that's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. Merry Christmas and God bless.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-830-4914. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-830-4914. That's 800-830-4914. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with, call Big Lou at 800-830-4914 or biglou.com. That's 800-830-4914 or biglou.com.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Now the news. At 9, The Talk. The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
8:10. Let's get a check of the roads with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Megan, we're still slow on northbound 270 from pretty much Tesson Ferry all the way up to Ladue. South 270, Olive to Ladue, that's still kind of off the pace. If you're on eastbound Highway 70, there's a little busy spot from 270 to the Rock Road, but otherwise you're good to go. Eastbound 64 is still slow through Winghaven, briefly at Clarkson, and then Lindbergh through the Interbelt. South 170, maybe Brentwood to 64, so it's not so bad there. Westbound 64 approaching Hampton to Hanley. We have a crash just before Laclede Station. Eastbound 44 is backed up almost a Big Bend, so be prepared. There's lane blockage there. Northbound Highway 55, you've still got slow traffic approaching 67 from the Union Road overpass. It's heavy pockets all the way up through Virginia. Downtown, northbound Route 3 delays now from almost Queenie up to the Poplar. Not a jam, but it's pretty heavy. Westbound 64 west of 3rd Street to the bridge is slow, and eastbound 64 east of 50 to Greenmount's heavy. Next update at 8:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Cloudy and cold today, high 38. Look for some snow to pass north and east of the city during the late afternoon hours into tonight. Otherwise, cloudy overnight to 30. Mostly cloudy tomorrow, high 38. Cloudy and colder Saturday. Another round of snow will pass mainly north of the city during the late morning and afternoon hours, the high 24 to 28, but temperature will start to fall in the afternoon. Sunday will be bright and sunny, but brisk and bitterly cold. The coldest day so far this winter, high 16. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Cold morning this morning, cloudy skies, 28 degrees downtown at the Arch. This is Total Information AM on KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. Tariffs seem to dominate the headlines about the economy in 2025. Was that our perception or was that reality? Let's look back on some of the pivotal moments in the past year and then also look ahead to 2026 with John Horn, professor of practice and economics in the Olin Business School at WashU in St. Louis and a frequent guest here on KMOX. Welcome back.
Thanks, Megan. Great to be back.
So when we look at tariffs, is that the economic story of 2025?
It's one of them. The tariff announcements were sort of expected when President Trump got elected. When they were fully announced, I think they were broader than people expected. They were bigger, and then they were put on hold, and then they were put back, and then they were taken off. And I think that uncertainty of what is happening or is not going to happen has challenged a lot of businesses this year. So it has been one of the major conversations, yes.
How has it impacted not only the American economy, but the world economy?
Well, one of the biggest challenges for the world is that China has had to find somewhere else to shift their exports, what they were exporting out of China. And so there have been challenges with Europe because that's when we had to shift things. But it sort of just disrupted all the normal flow. I mean, trade is... I want to say it had gotten to the perfect place, but there sort of was a pattern where countries were trading with each other. And when you take the U.S. out of that, and it disrupts how all the other countries start trading with each other too.
Can we see any benefits to the tariff picture?
Well, the one benefit for the U.S. would be the taxes that are being raised, the tariffs that are being raised, but that's not necessarily exactly a good thing because those tariffs are collected on importers in the United States. Not clear that we can offset those tariffs and push them off to the manufacturers in other countries. And tariffs reduce the amount of trade. So we don't have the same amount of trade that we had before. And other countries aren't as willing to open their arms to say, well, just export to us and that's okay. So it's, yes, we've been collecting more tariff revenue, but I wouldn't necessarily say that that was a good thing overall.
You mentioned that tariffs are only one part of the economic picture for 2025. What else did you see having a major influence on our economy?
I think the biggest thing, and this just to preview a little bit, sort of transitions to what we think about in 2026, is that there have been a lot of areas that have been stressed. So the job market has been stressed. I think when you look at the overall numbers, they look okay. Inflation's gone up a little bit, but it's not to the level it was 3 years ago. The job market has gotten unemployment increasing, but it's not to the levels we saw like in the Great Recession. But if you start to dig into some of those numbers, the consumption increase in the United States, where we're spending and buying stuff, is mostly in the top 10% of people by income. When you look at inflation, it's been going up, but things like rent and housing has gone up a lot. Healthcare is expected to go up with the subsidies not getting passed for next year. The shutdown in the government spending and DOGE and how that's contracted government. And we're facing another one coming January 30th. Is there going to be another shutdown that happens? And business investment has been going like gangbusters, but it's mostly been in data centers and in AI. So you take that out and there hasn't been a lot of investment. And so when you look at the bigger picture, yes, at the top level, GDP is growing, unemployment's still relatively low, inflation isn't exploding. But when you start to look at it, it's not everything is having those same experiences. I think that's the challenge for 25 and looking forward to.
And a lot of people, I think, are feeling under quite a bit of financial strain.
Yeah.
If you talk to everyday person on the street.
Yeah. And it's hard, you go to the grocery store and you just notice that what you're paying for your average weekly or biweekly bill is just higher than it was 2-3 years ago. Even though inflation isn't at the 9 or 10% it was, it's still getting higher and higher and higher. And that's, you can't not notice that.
So looking ahead to 2026, one of the things that I keep hearing about is this AI bubble and that it could pop. Is that a real concern?
So it is a possible concern, yes. I don't know if it's necessarily going to happen in 26. It could be 27, 28. We don't know. The way to think about, at least I think about this, is that we have a lot of companies investing a lot of money into AI. And there probably isn't enough demand out there ultimately for all of that investment. So some of it's going to fail. We don't know what's going to fail. We don't know when it's going to fail. We don't know how big it's going to fail. And we're businesses who to date have seen some help from AI, but not the big promise of it's going to radically transform business. Are they going to stop buying? And are the data centers going to not be needed? And so, yes, we have a ton of investment into AI and data infrastructure. But, we see this in a lot of classic bubbles is everyone thinks they're going to be the winner. So everyone invests. But we know that not everyone will win. So someone's going to fail. And when that failure happens, it could be widespread. It could be, it sort of works its way out. But, probably there's overbuilding in data centers. Probably there's overinvestment in AI software infrastructure and design. But when that's going to happen, I think that's one of the uncertainties. We just don't know if or when it's going to happen.
The Federal Reserve was in the news a lot over 2025. There's been a lot of dissension that's not typical for this group of leaders. So when we look at 2026, how could the Federal Reserve shape the economy?
The Fed has been challenged because there are sort of two things they have to focus on. One is inflation and inflation is around 3%, which is higher than they ideally would like, around 2%. And when inflation is high, you want to keep interest rates high to sort of slow down the economy. On the other hand, unemployment is increasing, and that's the other mandate, is to make sure unemployment doesn't increase. And to get unemployment back down, you lower interest rates. So they've sort of got this conflict where one thing is telling them keep interest rates high, and the other thing is saying keep interest rates low. And part of the challenge also, I think, for the Fed is if they do lower interest rates, is that just going to spur more data center construction, or is it really going to cause manufacturing to come back and to grow and to investment in other types of things? We're already investing in data centers. I don't think lower interest rates are necessarily going to help us grow that faster, or is it really going to stimulate the rest of the economy or not? And if it doesn't, then you're probably just going to kick off inflation and not get the unemployment reduction. And so I think that's one of the challenges I hope the Fed is thinking about. I'm not, part of the conversations that they have, but I think that's one of the challenges they face. It's not just raise interest rates or, just decrease interest rates. That's what we have to do. Either thing is sort of it's nothing is the right answer necessarily.
Is there anything else that you will be watching as we head into 2026?
As an economist, I focus on the economy, but I also understand that politics influences the economy. And I think with the 26 election coming up, with everything that's gone on in the past year, with everything expected next year, I can't help but think that everything that's going to lead up to the November elections is going to influence the economy. And I don't know how that's going to play out. Last year when I had conversations like this, I would say, what we should expect in 2025 is not just the normal, but different tweaks on the border. Things are going to be rather different. And I would imagine that in 26, we're probably going to see more of that it's not just going to be, the tariff rates are going to be adjusted slightly, or the tax rates will be tweaked a little bit. There could be even more big, massive disruptions like we've seen in 2025. And on top of what we already have had, that could cause even bigger problems to snowball.
John, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. And Happy New Year.
Absolutely. Happy New Year to you. Thanks, Megan.
That is John Horn, professor of practice and economics in the Olin Business School at WashU in St. Louis, joining us here on KMOX. Let's get a check of the roads now with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we still got this crash, Megan, on eastbound 44. It's right at the Edgar Road overpass. Like I said, before you get to Laclede Station, only the right lane is open. So traffic's jammed back pretty close to Lindbergh now. So pretty significant backup on eastbound 44. Jam, actually, not a backup. Northbound 55 is a little slow at 65. Is just kind of busy. Bayless up to River to Paris, so that's not bad. North 270 through Gravois is slow. 44 all the way up to Ladue is busy. Eastbound 64 looks good out west. There's just some slow traffic from Lindbergh into about Big Bend. Westbound 64 Hampton to Hanley's heavy. South 270 is clear. Eastbound 70 just a little busy. 270 into the Rock Road. Downtown westbound 64 just slow across the Poplar. Next update at 8:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Cloudy and cold today, a high of 38 degrees. Right now we have 28 degrees downtown at the Arch. Coming up, a lot of buzz these days about a surge in young people becoming more religious. But is it really true? Fred Bottomer will look at that next.
This report is sponsored by Metro Transit.
Looks like autumn has arrived, and all fall long, a Metro Transit Day Pass is still just $5, which makes you just one click away from your one-day mental health fall getaway. Plan your trip at metrostlouis.org.
If you or anyone you care about is facing a family legal matter, call Cordell & Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Divorce touches all areas of your life: your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on.
If you or anyone you care about is facing divorce, contact Cordell & Cordell today. With over 100,000 clients served, we understand the challenges you're facing on a personal level. Call Cordell & Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. That's 1-855-GET-LEGAL. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. 600 Kelwood, St. Louis.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/deal for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/deal. See representative for warranty details.
This holiday season, when you get them STIHL, batteries are included. Buy select battery tool sets and get a free extra battery. Visit STIHLUSA.com for gift ideas and seasonal savings. Happy holidays from STIHL. Offer valid for a limited time only at participating dealers while supplies last.
A new Pew Research Center analysis takes a look at religion and young people in the United States. KMOX religion editor Fred Bottomer talked about the findings with Pew senior researcher Greg Smith.
You know, there's been a lot of conversation lately about whether we are in the midst of a religious revival or a religious resurgence among young people in the United States. You see conversations happening about that, but we don't really see much evidence for that in the data. The main thing to know about young adults in the United States when it comes to religion is that young people are way less religious than older people. But not only that, young people today in the United States are also less religious than young people were a decade or two ago. And furthermore, there's no indication that young people have become more religious recently over the last 4 or 5 years. So despite conversations to the contrary, we're really not seeing any clear evidence that there's a nationwide religious resurgence among young adults in the United States.
How do young men compare religiously with young women?
It's very interesting. When it comes to religion, young men and young women look very similar to each other. That is to say, there's not much difference in the share of people who pray regularly or that religion's very important in their lives. Those numbers are the same among young men and among young women. That's different than in the past. In the past, young women have tended to be more religious than young men. The same thing is true among the population as a whole, among all U.S. adults, young people and old people and everybody in between. Women, on average, tend to be more religious than men. So the fact that young men and young women are equally religious, neither is more religious than the other, is quite interesting. Now, it might be tempting to assume they're just as religious as young women. Then that might mean that might be because young men are becoming more religious. But that's not the case at all. In fact, both young men and young women are less religious than young men and young women were in the recent past. Both groups have become less religious over time.
What did Pew find out when it comes to young people and religious switching?
Yeah, you know, there's been some conversations recently about whether there are big numbers of young people in the United States converting to Christianity, especially some conservative or traditional forms of Christianity like Orthodox Christianity or Catholicism. But here again, we're not seeing any indication of that in the national data. Very few young people have converted to Orthodox Christianity. Orthodox Christians make up a small share of the population as a whole, and there are few people in percentage terms who have converted to it among young people or older adults. And Catholicism loses far more people through religious switching than it gains. And that's true among younger people and older people alike. So we're not seeing much evidence, at least at the national level, of widespread conversions to Christianity among young adults. Now, I should say that doesn't mean that there might not be conversions to Christianity or a resurgence of religion taking place in particular places around the country or in particular congregations around the country. That certainly could be the case. These things just aren't happening in big enough numbers, though, to register in the national data that we collect here at Pew Research Center.
That is Pew senior researcher Greg Smith talking with KMOX religion editor Fred Bottomer. It's now 8:27. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, the genuine, the original, present 100 years of KMOX.
Watching Hurricane Katrina make landfall.
There, when we came together.
We are at the Schnucks at Butler Hill, just off 55. We are collecting donations and goods for Hurricane Katrina victims.
Move-in kits for the folks who were evacuated because of Hurricane Katrina.
There's just a steady stream of cars, people donating entire
baskets full of things.
It's amazing to see this many people.
KMOX listener said I had to drop by and give something off.
Detergent and bleach and towels and cleansers.
What it all comes down to is this is a great way for you today to help the victims.
Pretty amazing. In fact, it's kind of choking me up how supportive everyone has been.
There for every headline, every heartbreak, every heartbeat. KMOX, the voice of St. Louis. Brought to you by St. Louis Public Library, St. Louis's original search engine.
Discover one of St. Louis's greatest treasures, St. Louis Public Library's Central Library. Designed by world-renowned architect Cass Gilbert and completed in 1912, this Beaux Arts masterpiece blends stunning historic details with modern design after a $70 million award-winning renovation. Experience the grandeur for yourself. Free docent-led tours are available Mondays at 11 and 12:30 and Saturdays at 11 noon and 1 p.m. Visit online at slpl.org to learn more. St. Louis Public Library.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want a boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Put it all together and you've got what you need to turn things all the way up. Getting started is simple. Just go to hims.com/joy to start your free online visit. Through Hims, you can access ED treatments, including pills, chews, and more, 100% online. No office visits, no pharmacy lines. Just fill out a simple intake form and a licensed medical provider will determine if treatment's right for you. If prescribed, it ships free and discreetly to your door. Find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy, HIMS.com/JOY.
8:30, time to check the roads with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, good news on eastbound 44, Megan. This traffic reports the service of Four Pretty Paws Mobile Pet Spa. They are just now clearing the crash at the Edgar Road overpass, moving it all over to the right shoulder. Lanes are open now, but again, it's still a solid jam approaching Lindbergh on eastbound 44. As alternate routes highway-wise, you're just looking at a slowdown north 55, Bales up to River to Pear, and eastbound 64 east of Lindbergh into a Big Bend is still slow. Westbound 64, Hampton to Hanley still heavy. North 270, you've still got slow pockets from through Gravois and north of 44 up to Ladue after that. And downtown still just a little busy on the Poplar Street Bridge, westbound and eastbound 64, just a little slow through Greenmount. Since 2018, Four Pretty Paws Mobile Pet Spa has provided stress-free one-on-one grooming right at your doorstep. Convenient, personal, and trusted. Book your holiday appointment at fourprettypaws.com. Now serving Southern Illinois. Next update at 8:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, cloudy and cold today, a high of 38. We could see some snow north and east of the city late this afternoon into tonight. Otherwise, a low near 30. Right now, we do have cloudy skies, 28 degrees downtown at the Arch. The United States has seized an oil tanker off the coast of Venezuela. CBS News White House correspondent Natalie Brand joins us now. Natalie, what triggered this? What justification is being given for this action?
Good morning, Megan. Well, this seems to be, a new tactic in this ongoing pressure campaign against Venezuela's Maduro regime. The Attorney General, Pam Bondi, did give a little bit more information about the tanker that was seized, saying that for a number of years, it's been sanctioned by the U.S. government due to what she alleges is involvement in illicit oil shipping networks supporting foreign terrorist organizations. Specifically, she said that she alleged that this vessel was used to transport sanctioned oil from Venezuela and Iran. So that is what the administration is saying officially. But it definitely it is a new and significant escalation in these ongoing tensions that we've seen with Venezuela and a form of economic pressure going after, an oil tanker and one of Venezuela's largest revenue sources.
What's been the response from Venezuela?
So Venezuela put out a very pointed statement saying that it strongly denounces and repudiates what it says constitutes a shameless robbery and an act of international piracy. And in this lengthy statement, it went on to essentially accuse the U.S. of trying to go after, its natural resources and oil, saying, this isn't about counter narcotics or democracy. It's about going after its resources. So definitely an escalation here. And, we're continuing to monitor new statements from Venezuela and the Maduro regime. It's important to note that, the Trump administration does not recognize the Maduro regime as legitimate, along with a number of other international leaders who point to, a disputed election years ago. But, the U.S., the Trump administration has gone on to accuse Maduro of being aligned with drug cartels, and he's also facing narco terrorism charges in the U.S.
Natalie, is there any indication that the Trump administration, would authorize more seizures like this, of ships in this network?
Yes, the sources tell CBS News that the administration is considering additional, similar missions to what we just saw, potentially additional seizures. The administration's been careful, though, not to disclose details about the long-term strategy here. All we know is, what the president has publicly said, which is that he believes Maduro's days as president are numbered. He said that in an interview with CBS's Norah O'Donnell, repeated something similar this week in an interview in Politico, but he's just not, giving his, he's not revealing his cards in terms of the overall long-term strategy, other than, saying that land strikes could happen soon, which is something that he's also said multiple times.
Natalie, thank you for the update. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
That is CBS News White House correspondent Natalie Brand. Your Money Report is next.
Bet the game day action right from your phone. Download the Caesars Sportsbook app now. Use code RADIOMO. Place your first bet of $5 or more and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. Open to new users in Missouri who are 21 or older. First wager after registration must qualify and win. And bonus bets expire 30 days after receipt. See Caesars.com/promotions or the promotions tab on the app for full terms. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment? That's a lie. Most timeshares can be bought online for $1. To find out what your timeshare is worth and to cancel it, call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit kit for your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley for your free exit info guide. 800-941-2255. That's 800-941-2255.
At Audion Hearing, our mission is simple: to make better hearing affordable for everyone. This Christmas holiday, enjoy exclusive savings on our high-quality rechargeable hearing aids. Clear, comfortable, and ready to use right out of the box. And here's a study worth hearing. Research shows that wearing hearing aids can reduce your risk of dementia by up to 61%. Join over 1 million happy customers and shop Christmas holiday deals before they're gone at audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Your Money Report now, sponsored by Eamon Gattner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys. Here's Bloomberg's Courtney Donahoe.
The number of federal employees who left their jobs in 2025 will total about 317,000 after efforts by Elon Musk and the Trump administration to reshape the workforce. The Office of Personnel Management said an overwhelming majority of those departures were voluntary. Turning to stocks, Oracle is reigniting concerns about all the spending surrounding artificial intelligence. The tech giant is sinking in early trading, pulling down S&P futures. Yesterday, big gains for stocks after the Federal Reserve delivered another interest rate cut. The Dow soared 497 points. And JetBlue is opening its first airport lounge this month. The airline is doing everything it can to win over wealthy travelers. The new space is called Blue House, and it spans 2 floors at New York's JFK Airport. It will primarily serve premium customers and the airline's credit card members. JetBlue says it plans to expand to Boston Logan next year. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
Maybe all you want for Christmas is to know that your home is sold. Get that weight off your shoulders. Well, then what you need is the right agent, and that is Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. If you're ready to sell your home for top dollar and sell it quickly, if you want an upfront upfront in writing guarantee that your home will be sold, then call Gloria. She also has a number of different ways to sell your home. So if you're thinking, I don't want people tramping through the house and having open houses during the holidays, you don't have to do it. She's got so many ways to sell homes. And again, she guarantees she'll sell your home at the price and time frame you both agree upon, or she will buy it herself. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date. Just give her a call and tell her what your details are, and she will get moving and sell your home. Guaranteed. 314-325-6888 at gloriahasthebuyers.com. gloriahasthebuyers.com. Call today, sell your home, and get packing.
Hey, Cardinal Cowboy here. Who would have thought a car crash would have led to charities, TV shows, and cheering with the best fans in the world? I'm thankful for every day. And so are my friends at Renner Garage Door. They've been turning garage doors from zero to hero since 1966. With help from trusted brands like Delden, Amar, and LiftMaster, honest family-style service you can count on. So giddy up and get your free repair or replacement quote today. Giddy up!
RENNER, RENNER. This is Amy Mark Scores, chair of this year's Red Kettle campaign. Christmas reminds us of the challenges faced by our neighbors in need, basic needs we sometimes take for granted. When you give with joy to the Salvation Army, you transform lives. You put food on the table and provide warm beds. You give veterans and seniors purpose. You help a child experience the joy of Christmas. And 90 cents of every dollar donated goes directly to critical social services. Bring joy to the world today. Visit salarmy.us/Amy Mark Scores.
Attention business owners with a net income over $500,000. You need to work with a tax strategist that understands your entrepreneurial mindset. Download the most recent white paper written by E3 Consultants Group titled The Power of a Professional Tax Strategy Team. Go to e3wealth.com/radio to obtain a copy. It's time to learn about wealth and tax strategies that protect your personal and business economy. E3 is ready to help you think differently about your finances. Educate, empower, enlighten. That's the E3 difference.
This is 104.1 FM KMOX. Here's what's happening. The Federal Reserve reduced its key interest rate for the third time in a row Wednesday, but signaled it may leave rates unchanged in the coming months. The Senate poised to reject legislation to extend Affordable Care Act tax credits for millions of Americans. And United States without a visa might soon need to provide social media, email, and family history details to the Department of Homeland Security. Let's get the latest on the slowdowns on the roads for you. Roger Brand has more from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we still got a jam on eastbound 44, Megan, but it's getting better. This traffic reports the service of the Penn Mutual Life Insurance Company. If you're on eastbound 44, you're jammed at Lindbergh into Bob Berry Road. It's opening up before you get to Elm, certainly. So the earlier crash was at Edgar Road, so it's much improved from that, obviously. If you're on northbound 55, it's still backed up Bales to River to Pear. North 270, still slow, both sides of Gravois and Big Bend all the way to Ladue. Eastbound 64 east of Lindbergh to about Big Bend is still heavy. Westbound 64 Hampton to Hanley, that's still pretty slow. A lot of folks are taking tests on Ferry. It's backed up north of Green Park most of the way over to Gravois. Pretty heavy congestion there. Otherwise, the rest of these highways look to be in great shape. At Penn Mutual, we believe that life insurance is the central part of a sound financial plan and that it can make an enduring impact for generations to come. Talk to your independent advisor or go to pennmutual.com/STL. Penn Mutual, trusted for life. I'm Roger Brand of the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Cloudy and cold, a high of 38. We could see a little bit of snow late this afternoon. Otherwise, cloudy overnight with a low of 30. Right now, cloudy skies, 28 degrees downtown at the Arch. Thanks for listening to Total Information AM here on KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. How much do you know about past city leaders of St. Louis and what we can learn from them? Here's Debbie Monterrey.
Raymond Tucker. You may know him as former mayor of St. Louis. Of course, KMOX studios are right here on Tucker, named after Mayor Tucker. Joining me to talk about a book about that man, it's Andrew Theising. The book is called Mid-Mod Mayor, How Raymond Tucker Shaped St. Louis. Thanks for joining me.
I'm happy to be here.
His name is on things, but I'm not sure how much St. Louisans today know about Raymond Tucker. I have to admit, the only thing that I really knew about him was that he was the guy responsible for cleaning up the air in St. Louis. Is that right?
That's right. And I can remember my father saying he cleaned the air. And I don't think anybody knows much about Mayor Tucker beyond that, even though Mayor Tucker was the right man at the right time. St. Louis in the 1950s, in that mid-century modern era, St. Louis was just an epicenter of activity. We were thinking big in St. Louis, and Mayor Tucker was helping to drive the city during those very formative years.
Yeah, if without him, well, I'm sure somebody would hopefully have fixed the air pollution problem at some point, but it was pretty gross. And now we at least have the old courthouse being white again, as opposed to just soot covered.
It really was. St. Louis was a filthy city in the sense that the factories were just belching out this smoke, and it was just everywhere. And if you think, in the days before air conditioning, you had to open your windows, and all of that soot and dust would come inside your house, and you would be out in the street. I mean, it's a good thing. I think people wore black in the old days simply because it hid the dirt.
Wow. And he's kind of a perfect example, to me, of how somebody can do a lot of good things, but also some things that, as we take a few steps forward in history, you look back and think, oh, okay. So I'm thinking particularly about Mill Creek Valley, because that's getting a lot of attention these days. I think that's another area that a lot of St. Louisans weren't familiar or maybe forgot about. There's a big exhibit at the Missouri History Museum about Mill Creek, and we're learning more about it because the St. Louis City's feel they have a nice dedication to Mill Creek. So at the time, what was the thinking about demolishing this entire Black neighborhood?
So Mill Creek Valley, we have such wonderful stories from Vivian Gibson and from Maleka Horn and Dr. Horn's sisters, Gwen Moore, and she's curating the exhibit at the History Museum. And so we have such wonderful, wonderful stories of life there. And I want to be careful to not take our 21st century lenses and look at something that was going on in the 1950s, because the very first thing that Mayor Tucker did before that redevelopment plan was even announced, he convened a committee of residents and pastors and businesses. And again, before anybody, the residents heard from it first. And the Board of Aldermen did not vote on anything until that resident committee approved the plan. The vision was for housing to be built. As among those commercial interests, housing was going to be part of that. And so the idea was we could get better housing and stay in our neighborhood. And it was the city planners that vetoed that idea and said, we need every acre for development, and there's not going to be any housing here. And so a lot of folks then became displaced from Mill Creek Valley, and it was tumultuous.
Yeah, it stayed empty for a number of years before they even really started doing anything with it. Isn't that right?
That's right. It took a long time to have all that land be redeveloped. And in hindsight, we look back and we say, was that really a good idea? And I think that we could argue that it wasn't. However, at the time, they didn't know it, and they were forward looking, and they were doing community engagement. And I think that gets lost in the details.
And he was clearly, Mayor Tucker, a man of his time. There was all this urban renewal going on across these, and St. Louis didn't want to get left behind.
Well, and the Mill Creek project was actually the largest one to that point in time. And so St. Louis was thinking big. We just didn't have interstate highways. The interstate system started in St. Louis. We didn't just have public housing. We had Pruitt-Igoe, which, again, we can look back and see everything that was wrong with that. But it was one of the largest projects ever developed. And then at the same time, we were building the Arch, and there's just all kinds of wonderful urban investment coming from the national government. And I don't think that we'll ever see that kind of investment in cities again.
I'm I've spent so much time on those two topics that we don't have a lot of time to talk about some of his other things. So if you had to list maybe a couple of other major of Mayor Raymond Tucker that we should know about, what might they be?
I think that the probably the greatest thing was he was the mayor that built the arch. The arch was approved back in the 1930s, but it took 20 years of negotiating, and it was his common sense approach that actually got the arch built. So I think that was something big. He's the man who really put the Poplar Street Bridge where it is today. And the idea was to show off our arch and our downtown. And so he also was the mayor during the Civil Rights Movement, and he I thought he did a fantastic job in shepherding St. Louis through civil rights. And I was reading his letters in the archive, and there were people who were just vicious and vile toward him for desegregating.
He is Raymond Tucker, Mid-Mod Mayor, How Raymond Tucker Shaped St. Louis. That is the book. Author is Andrew Theising. Thanks so much for the time.
You're welcome.
And thank you, Debbie. Coming up, we're going to give you some tips for AI shopping.
This is Congressman Bob Onder. 2025 was a turning point for America. House Republicans didn't just talk about the challenges facing our country, we delivered real solutions. I was proud to stand beside President Trump to deliver historic tax cuts, secure our border, and eliminate waste, fraud, and abuse in the government. This year, my office helped constituents by solving over 500 cases and returning to them nearly $1.8 million. I'm Congressman Bob Onder, and I wish you a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives. For 100 years, KMOX has been part of St. Louis. Now, Together Credit Union is helping celebrate that legacy. Starting in November, visit any Together Credit Union branch to pick up a KMOX 100th anniversary commemorative ornament for just $5 while supplies last. Each ornament supports Children's Miracle Network of Greater St. Louis. Together Credit Union, honoring 100 years of KMOX, the voice of St. Louis, and Children's Miracle Network of Greater St. Louis, improving the health of all children.
Glover here from my friends at Cantor Injury Law. Cantor is local, and we're here doing the work every day. We're right here in St. Louis, and we're ready to fight for you. CantorInjuryLaw.com or call 314-628-9999.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
Renewal by Andersen is the #1 window and door brand for customer service. Schedule your free inspection today. Call 877-WINDOWS. That's 877-WINDOWS. Or head to rbastl.com.
Red Kingdom is back at FanDuel Sports Network Live in Ballpark Village. See every game on the largest screen in town. Don't forget about the $25 buckets, $5 cocktails, and the best tailgate food around. Grab your friends along with KMOX and huddle up for the games at the best watch party in town. If you can't make it, but don't want to miss it down, listen to the Chiefs on KMOX or KMOX on the Odyssey app. For more info, KMOX.com/events.
You're back with Total Information AM on KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. Maybe using AI assistants to help you shop this holiday season. Experts say they can help you avoid decision fatigue, but they could try to help you a little too much. Daniel Burris is a strategic AI advisor and founder of Burris Research.
Well, no, they do a really good job, but here is the downside of what I would call what they would love to do is ultra personalization, which means get to know you real well. So how well do you want them to know you? There is the flaw of that. Now, Gemini is by Google, and that's really doing really well right now. But you got to remember, how does Google make money? They sell everything they learn about you to advertisers, everything they know, everything they get from you. So whatever you're sharing on there is fair game for Google. That's how they make their $1 trillion. So be careful of the platform you're using. The litmus test I like to use is, how is the company making money? And if they're making money by advertising, no, everything you do with them is being sold. How much do you want them to know? So there's part of the crux of all of that.
When using these kind of tools for shopping, can it really streamline the experience for someone? I mean, are they fairly effective?
Actually, the answer is yes. Again, I rather than using Gemini, which is again from Google, which is taking everything you do and, selling it basically. If you were using ChatGPT or Perplexity or some of the others that haven't developed that model yet, notice I added that with a little pause, but they're not doing that currently. Those are really good sites to get ideas from. And what I want is idea generation. Give me some ideas. So I've got let's say I've got a 20-year-old that I want to give some gifts for. I could put in some characteristics. I may not name the person. See, I don't think I put their name in there, but I could describe them because they're not revealing their name. I'm not tying it. And I could describe what they like to do. Here's my budget. Here's what I'd like to get for them. Here's the kind of things that they have gotten in the past. And it can give you a very good list. So you could apply that to a spouse. You could apply it to grandparents, anyone, and get a very good list if you're good at prompting. In other words, putting in specifics of exactly who the person is without naming. See, if you name them, now all of a sudden it's learning about them. And I don't know if you want to do that, but that can be really useful.
It's amazing how quickly this technology has adapted. And I'm wondering for you, as someone who watches very closely this type of innovation, what we might expect next holiday season out of artificial intelligence and its ability to help us with these kind of shopping tasks.
Yeah, thank you. I am a top AI retail forecaster and that kind of authority. So with that in mind, it is moving very fast. It will get better. The goal of the companies, now not you, the listener, the goal of the companies is let's get more dialed in, more hyper using. And as a matter of fact, some of you have noticed to do this a little more often, they have now browsers that you can get a Claude browser, or you can get a ChatGPT browser to take over for you. Be very careful of that, because if you download that on your phone or get that in your computer, it's basically saying, oh, good, now I can really hyper-personalize for you, but I can dial into anything that's in your machine. And you really want to give it that access. In other words, what I'm saying is they're going to continue to give us tools to hyper-personalize, which has its advantages. However, you're giving up a lot. And my worry for younger people is they don't realize what they're giving up because they're young, they aren't thinking about it yet. And some of us that are maybe a little bit older are a little more careful about who gets to know everything about us.
So Daniel, I'm curious, with all that we've talked about, are there any other tips that we have not mentioned that you would give to people when it comes to using AI to help them shop and find deals this holiday?
Yes, it all is about the prompt. If you're using, the AI directly, because again, if you're shopping on a Amazon or on a Walmart site or one of those big sites, they have tools that can help you based on your history, and those can be good. But now I'm going to get into, if you're using AI, which increasingly, as a matter of fact, right now I got a statistic for you. As of right now, 45% of searches have no click, meaning you're using AI, you're not going to Google to search something, which means you're clicking and then you're going to a website. So therefore, if you're a company relying on a website, it's becoming less useful for you because people aren't even going to your website. They're using AI, which doesn't go to a website. So there's something called, in the past, search engine optimization for companies. Now what we're doing is AI and generative AI optimization, which is very different. You don't want to be invisible. So that's the company side of this. On the personal side of this, again, I want us to be careful of what we're giving up to get access and to get personalization.
That's Daniel Burris, founder of Burris Research. You can hear our full conversation on the Total Information AM podcast page of KMOX.com.
Have you been a victim of Instacart's dynamic pricing? Yes, different prices for the same items. Justin Brookman, Director of Technology Policy for Consumer Reports, joins us, plus CBS Chief Washington Correspondent Major Garrett. It all starts at 9 a.m. on The Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Health Trends, sponsored by Ethos. Ahead